Everything's been taken care of. His long meeting's 8:30.
I was in it.
Not yet, yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Yeah, I was talking, I sometimes was taught the last person.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Got one lady that had making the mistake as a chair.
Okay, we're going to get started with our City of Ojai Parks and Recreation Commission meeting tonight. We're going to have a call to order.
Commissioner Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Roddick?
Here.
Commissioner Dutter?
Here.
Vice Chair Entner?
Here.
Chair Rylander?
Here.
And Commissioner Ford?
Here.
Commissioner Basor is absent this evening.
Okay. And let's stand for a Pledge of Allegiance, please. Sophocles, would you do the honors?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I was going to ask if Okay. So now's the time if anyone has any public comments, anything that's not on the agenda tonight. And looks like we don't have any. I don't have any speaker cards. So we will move on to the police department report.
Thank you, Chair Rylander. Sergeant Harwood was not able to be here this evening. He had a conflict. He did stop by shortly before the meeting to express his apologies for not being able to be here tonight. He stated he does not have anything significant to report. There were no outstanding issues in the last month. We have continued to follow up on some issues that we've had in Sarzati Park regarding improper activities out there, and the police have been very good in cooperating with that. So I think we can look forward to having Sergeant Harwood or somebody else from the police department give us an update at the April meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we will go to Public Works update. Thank you. Big grant.
Good evening. I did have a few things to update on, excuse my voice, but I'm extremely hoarse from our meetings with Facilities Committee all this week, I think, might have done it. So I don't think that was really it. But I do want to mention at the Libby Bowl area, there was they're kind of opening up for the season, so we've met with the Libby Bowl Foundation with Beth Sutherland and Steve. Steve, represented from the city side, he's always been, I guess you call management of the contract, right, Steve, for the Libby Bowl agreement. And one of the concerns they had was just looking over the whole facility. We went through the whole backstage area, and we decided on some cleanup on electronics and things like that hadn't been really cleaned up over the past 5 years. Nothing significant, just dust and that kind of thing that they thought we should get on. So we're doing that. There's also the area where they pull in the food trucks in the back of the bowl, and I guess last summer one of the food trucks was stuck there. I don't think he made a huge rut, but it was just summer tires in that kind of mulch area. And later in the summer, we irrigate more to keep all the grasses alive that was a little bit wet there. So we are digging that area out a little bit right now and putting some base in so it's a better roadway for the season that's kicking in. I guess April 5th, or I think it's April 5th is it's that weekend anyways, Easter weekend. They have an event every year. So that starts it off, the season. So we had, I'm trying to think of other things, Steve, if you can, for the general cleanup, we're doing some general weeding in the lawn areas in the back and trying to, we're putting the shade structure back up in a couple of weeks also. And the concrete up on the stage, we're doing a thorough cleaning of that, and we're going to paint the backdrop. And there's a little miscellaneous items with the caps and so on that have been damaged that we had to fix up. So really it was just a general overview of the park, the Libby Bowl Park area, to get it cleaned up. And over at Sarzati, we do have an RFP underway for the 2 new poles for the Field 1. They're really high light poles that shine over Field 1. I think they're about 60 or 70 foot tall, and they're old poles. And it's really, we were trying to get some testing done on the poles to decide how bad of shape they are. But there's definitely been a lot of woodpecker work on them, and we had it on the agenda in the capital improvement program for a couple of years, so we're getting at that, trying to get it done before July 1st. And then we had, as far as an update goes to the Sarzati picnic area shelters that we had in the budget as well, and as part of the CDBG grant program, and the Ojai Civic Association has generously agreed to pay for half of that funding. That we have got the clearance from the CDBG. We had to submit environmental documents, and they've released the funding now for that. So we can go ahead and RFP an architect just to work with us on a minor plan, nothing too significant, but just a site plan. So we'll proceed with that, get the site plan, and review it with you at that time. I think we'd had a pretty good layout beforehand, but if you would like us to discuss it beforehand, we could.
You weren't here at our last meeting, but and it is in our minutes that the commission, I think the commission is concerned about work in Sarzoti at this time because the RFP for the planning is out and not moving forward with that project and putting it on hold until we get done with the planning process for the whole park. It just seems an odd time to put in hardscape structure when we don't really know what we want to do with the whole park. And so we had a discussion about that last time. It is in the minutes about, under the CIP, that I think it would be better to hold off. And I understand that the CDBG money is allocated to that project, and we've told them that's what we're using it for. But I know that historically, sometimes CDBG money has been able to be moved in different directions for good reasons. And this seems like a pretty good time to not put any hardscape in.
Huh.
And I think we brought it up even maybe the month before
We
that,
did.
too.
It was in the meetings last month, and I thought the agreement as well was to look into the financial impact of holding off on that
Exactly.
project.
Exactly.
So it
To
would-
investigate what that would take and whether it's
Exactly.
possible
well,
to back off
yeah,
of it.
whether it would determine if we're gonna lose the funds. If we're gonna lose the funds, then we decided we were gonna go ahead.
Exactly.
But, and, yes, but with the, not just saying that we're gonna do that, but literally going to the county and talking to them and explaining the situation and seeing if there's another way to do this. And if there are maybe other projects within Sarzoti that are already on the CIP plan that we could put in instead of that to get done so that we wouldn't lose the money. So it still would be located in the same park, serving the same people, because I understand the nexus for that is that you're serving the people who qualify us for CDBG money. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think we wanted to see the plan.
Well,
And before we
that's what I'm
start.
saying. He
Yeah.
wants to get forward with the plans. I think we need to move forward with the plans so we can see.
I mean, the master
Because even
plan.
if we do the master plan project, they're gonna have to look at that also as an area. So they have a set of plans saying, hey, this is what we want in the future. Do you want it here? Do you want it over there? Or where
Well,
would best
for me,
fit?
it seems, I don't know that I'd want to spend money on architectural plans at this point,
I
but
think, though, that we were kind of concerned last time that we would, I thought we were going to move forward with this one, and then we would,
that wasn't what I was
What I
thinking
remember
about.
is that we talked about prioritizing things like, say, the basketball, the floors in the gym is something that we could move forward with at this time, because it wouldn't be something that affected the whole park plan. So we kind of wanted to see what came back, and before we did something permanent.
Really, all that's in the minutes were my comments.
Exactly. Was delaying the shade structure.
Yeah. Until the master plan is done.
Exactly.
So I'll have to look at that. I think the CDBG funding, I'm not certain, I'll check. But I thought it had a pretty tight deadline on it. At the same time, when I got here, the restroom was under CDBG, but
Yep.
it was delayed and wasn't being done.
It was.
So it seems like that had extended for a couple of years or so.
There is
So-
history over the time that I've been on this commission, and I can't cite all the projects, where it has been delayed or rerouted to other projects based on priorities changing.
And I'd be,
I can't speak to the county side of it or an understanding of what that process is, but
okay, I'll definitely check on
I
that.
think we just don't want to go into it and go and do something permanent when we could go and have a master plan for the Sarasota Park, and then all of a sudden, that whole area is moved over here.
Right.
You know, and then now it's permanent and we've spent money.
it's taking a large chunk of the park.
Even though we really want it, we just.
Right. So I think I'll definitely check on
Wanna
that.
be
If the
smart.
delay works, fine. Otherwise, I'll come back and explain if there's some problem with the delay. And I should mention that funding on this is a bit complicated, mostly that the Ojai Civic Association has agreed to fund half of it. So I'd hate to lose that funding as well.
Well, then we should be going back to them and asking them the same question.
Right.
I have to think that if we give an intelligent argument, which is we're about to go into a master planning process,
Yeah.
I would think that most people would say, oh, let's hold off and really make sure we're putting it where it really needs to be.
Right,
So-
absolutely.
So hopefully, before anything happens, could we come back to next month and have that agendized, that we'll discuss it then in more detail?
Well, we just have to, we have to do some research, Greg, because, we can't undo an action that the council may have already authorized. And
Is
so
there a
I think
timeframe
we
for
have
that
to, we have to give some consideration on that. I'm not saying that to muzzle the voice of the Parks Commission here, but obviously I can't, we can't, you say, council, sorry, we're going to hold off on the action direction that you've given to staff. We can certainly do the research and come back with the information.
And we can have it as an agenda item, and we
certainly.
can make recommendations based on that agenda item to council.
Absolutely.
That's the direction that as a commission we want to go.
Correct,
And we're not
yes.
saying we don't want to take that action, it's just in a timely manner, so that we're not
Understood.
wasteful.
It may very well be that they might say the funding's available for 48 months or whatever, for a couple of years, and so we'll find out and then get back to you about it. Yeah,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Appreciate that.
I'm glad I brought it up. All right, so that's good, because we were kind of thinking, in a way, I thought, hey, the picnic table area was already had old pavement around it, and it was pretty well cased out, so I thought that was an agreed-upon area. And we had, the large barbecues in that area, and we have the restroom set up for it with the outdoor sink and all that, so I thought it was pretty well set, but it sounds like a great idea to wait at the master plan, which we hope will hopefully be done maybe this summer, are we thinking?
That's the
Yeah,
hope.
exactly.
Yeah.
We already have our,
Like 3
the
months.
RFPs have been turned in that we have, so I
Right.
think we're set to move. It's not like it's a date that we aren't approaching and we don't know when it's going to happen. It's
Right.
pretty,
And if we land up even just any kind of movement around of the general plan of it, it seems like an easy enough thing to change.
And
Yeah.
hopefully with the whole
Right.
plan, you're looking at everything architecture, like the look and feel of the whole space. So if we go and pick blue, whatever, but then everything else, you know what I mean? Like we want cohesiveness and
Right.
something beautiful, not
Yeah, these
together.
were intended to, originally we considered a wood structure, kind of like they have at Soul Park, but we had gone to the aluminum columns with aluminum framing, and it had a wood underside, the wood exposed roof sheeting was going to be tongue and groove. And then it was, thinking for the roofing on it, I don't think it was really finalized. But the whole important part was it was a lot of aluminum, and it was recycled content. And that gave us access to this AB 939 fund that the city
that's
has.
not at risk. The AB 939.
No, that's locked up for sure, yeah.
That, we're set with that. That's just a matter of where we end up spending it.
Right.
Okay.
And I think even the OCA, it's probably mostly about CDBG funding,
That's the,
Yeah.
okay.
so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I was going to mention also that in Lower Libby, I think I heard at the last commission meeting that I was up here at, was that that it had been neglected somewhat. And I think that's true. I personally don't go down there a lot myself, I got to admit. So I went down there, and our new custodial people, it seemed, weren't paying attention to the spider webs and so on up around there. And they didn't understand it was necessarily part of their duties, so we straightened all that out. And they cleaned that up, and even our crew has got plans to go down and paint that lower restroom, clean that up as well. So I appreciate you flagging that to us, all right?
Do you, we want to talk about the restrooms too. Just because someone had mentioned that, and so I actually went there and took photos just because I'd never been in there before, and it definitely is, it's not unsuitable, it's just undesirable in the fact that there are no doors in the toilet stalls. There's no stalls whatsoever. So basically, if you come to the front door
half
of the
stall.
restroom, you can see everybody. So we would like to consider having that fixed and stalls put in. And we were curious if that would fall into, if there was any of the stalls would fall into like a recycled content that would also
Oh, for
get
funding.
into funding, but the fact that we have, when I went there were probably 40 people playing tennis, and it was on my way to work early in the morning, and it's just
I got to admit, I didn't go to the women's side. You're saying the stalls don't have separators between?
no, all they have
They're
is
short
they have pony
separators.
walls that come
With
up
no
to
doors.
about.
Oh, that's the old block walls, right?
Exactly.
With no doors.
That's right.
At all, and it just seems, they look like kind of.
I think the
Prison.
I think
Well, same in the men's, right? Soft
There's
play?
no,
Yeah.
there's no doors
So
on
both.
the stalls in the men's room either.
I would say both need
Open.
stalls. The bathroom was clean and functional, and there was nothing wrong with the bathroom, just the fact that there's absolutely no, privacy at all,
Okay.
in any, minimal
We'll
privacy.
we'll take a look at that and see how much it would cost to put the stall walls up on.
Yeah,
in
so I
there.
think that's what we were asking, to find out if that was something that we could fix.
I think we planned to remodel the restrooms, and that was been delayed. That seemed like a lower priority, and it got kicked back a few times. So we thought we'd go through both the upper and lower, and there's been a lot of discussion on what the desire is to remodel them. So
Yeah.
that money is allocated in the capital improvement program as well to remodel upper and lower.
Yeah, and it just seemed like something, actually, it's cinder block walls that could be taken out and put put in normal bathroom stalls.
normal stalls in, right? I think that there was some discussion with Ojai Music Festival. Whenever they have their bigger events, they bring in these trailers with a lot of restrooms, and there was some discussion about possibly going to, you see them down at the beach in Ventura where they have separate restrooms all the way. They have a common sink outside, and then they have a toilet room separate all the way around. They might have 12 separate toilets and then 2 sinks outside. And we were kind of thinking maybe we should go to something like that. And then really we seems to be that for the Libby Bowl, these bigger events only occur 3 times a year. It's very rare we get a really big event that needs something like that. So do we really want to build it for that? That could almost work. You could have 4 restrooms open all the time, 4 doors, and have 8 shut off, for instance. But it's a significant increase in the cost and so on.
Yeah, I think we were thinking because of the use down there, it's
Lower. It's
one of our most popular locations that it validated.
Well, the tennis program is a large
Yeah.
program with a lot of people going through that on a really regular basis. Their numbers in the evening, during the day, they have, all throughout the day, that's different days of the week being utilized. So I think more than anything, we were thinking of it not so much as a long-term capital improvement project, but as a short-term fix to pretty much an unacceptable situation.
Right. Okay.
And how do you do that? And I think, so it wasn't about it not being clean or any of those
Yeah,
kinds of things. It was fine from that
Everything's
perspective.
Okay. I thought it wasn't that great in that perspective, but okay.
I went on a good day.
Okay.
Fine.
If you were this there in the past few weeks, we went through and
Yeah,
cleaned
I
it
did.
up.
A month ago.
Yeah, like a month ago.
Okay, yeah. All right, well,
I'm sure it would be appreciated too by the Ojai tennis tournament folk.
Yes.
to have.
Because it's a
If
little,
coming
it's a
up in
little
the next
startling to
month
go
or
in there.
so.
it really had never been raised as far as I'd heard before that, before it came up with the commission just a couple of months ago. So, all
Well,
right, well, then-
anyone that uses those restrooms would
Yeah, it's been-
appreciate
Or doesn't.
doors on the stalls.
I wouldn't use it,
higher
yeah.
stalls.
we'll definitely take a look at that, what the cost would be. Just, we might be able to cover that in our regular maintenance budget even, yeah.
That's what we were wondering. Is there a
Yes.
way to
Okay.
do that just as a temporary solution? Because I know it's on the CIP.
Okay, terrific. And beyond that, Steve, do you have something there?
I was just going to mention to the commission that Greg and I haven't had a chance to talk about the list of things that had come up at the last meeting, which is why I'm asked the commission to continue that to April. It's just been a very busy month, but so we will sit down and talk about that as well as some other cost estimates. But we understand the need, we understand the concern, and we'll see if we can explore. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that has to put on the CIP plan. Maybe there's some other way that we can get around that. And we could also talk about perhaps using some of the recreation capital funds if there's not some other resource available for that. So
Okay, no, thank you, I think,
but we won't forget about it.
thank you. And plus, it's spring, right around the corner, summer, everyone's gonna be getting out, it's just a quick fix.
Right, okay. And I did want to mention, as last item, that at Clough Vista Park, we met with the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy and the Clough family, and who are all the major first involved in developing the park. And we reviewed the themes of the native plants and so on throughout the park. And over the years, I think the park has been out now since, I know it was about 10 years ago anyhow, the park has been out. It might have been 12, it was about 10 or 12. And so a lot of certain plants have really thrived there and they've grown out of their borders, and certain other ones have retreated and have not done very well. So we're going through and trying to delineate those areas better. And there's quite a few guiding theme, what you call them, kind of posters that people look at as they go up there. And we're looking at revising those to what's actually out there and what can thrive better. And working with Tom Bostrom, the original landscape architect for that park, to revise those themes, and splitting the cost of Tom Bostrom looking at it, as well as the new poster boards that would go up. There's probably a better name for those, but, sorry,
Plaques? Are they
the plaques, right, the theme plaques.
The informational kiosk kind of,
Yeah, maybe a kiosk or an informational kiosk is a good one. So OVLC is splitting the cost of the kiosk update as well as the Bostrom looking at it.
That's
And
nice.
So we should have that
All
done.
native plants in there?
It's still really the same plant themes, but it's just how it's morphed a little bit over the past 10, 12 years. Yeah. And he's going to provide a good maintenance guide also. I think sometimes there's confusion about some of the smaller plants that don't thrive very well. Is it a weed or is it a native or not? So to make sure that everybody's clear about that during maintenance. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. So it looks like we're going to move on to presentations. And tonight we have Ojai Gymnastics Recreation Specialist Vicki Hollingsworth. Hi.
I'm Vicki Hollingsworth, and I am head coach and coordinator for Ojai Valley Gymnastics. And I brought you some things to brag about.
Okay.
And this is Stacy, my assistant head coach.
All right. So I'm going to read a whole lot because I want to make sure I don't forget anything or leave anything out. My name is Stacy Perksen. I have been a paid coach at Ojai Valley Gymnastics for over 22 years. For the last 15 years, I have been the assistant head coach. Currently, we have 213 kids enrolled. Right now, we are getting ready for our Michelle Palza Katie Edwards Memorial Exhibition. I personally have participated in and been a part of the last 27 exhibitions. The exhibition was started over 36 years ago to honor one of Ojai Valley's gymnasts who have passed away in a tragic fire at an early age. Michelle Palza was a hardworking gymnast who would give it her all in every practice. She was kind, gentle, and had a great source of inspiration to her fellow gymnasts, and it is a great honor to be presented with the Michelle Palza Award. Award goes to the most outstanding team gymnast that has achieved excellence in all areas. Also, 17 years ago, we were struck with another tragedy. Katie Edwards was passed away from cancer. Katie was a very hard worker. She always excelled to the best of her ability. Katie was remembered for her strong spirit and ability to light up the room with her smile. And I have two Michelle Palza recipients with me tonight. First, we have Becca Burgess. She's 15 years old. At the age of 12, she was diagnosed with scoliosis, as you can see. She's got a gnarly back brace on and has been wearing it for a little over a year now. Also, a year and a half ago, she fell in soccer and shattered her collarbone. Her collarbone right now is held together with a plate and screws. Also, you can tell she's rather tall for a gymnast. She also gets 6 hours a week. She competes against girls her level that get a minimal of 12 hours a week, and yet you can still see after all this against her, she still is a very decorated gymnast. So I'm going to let her brag a little about herself.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I am 15. I'm a freshman in high school and taking college classes at Ventura College while maintaining a 4.2 GPA. I started gymnastics when I was 10 years old in the beginners program and quickly moved to team. I have been competing since age 11, and this season, while competing Excel Gold, I achieved a 9.7 out of a 10 score on vault. My average all around has been a 35 out of 40. Sadly, a year and a half ago, I shattered my collarbone and had to have surgery. And even before, but I did not let that stop me. During every workout, I conditioned until I could tumble again. Even before I fully recovered from my incident, I was struck with bad news. My scoliosis had worsened and I had to get a back brace. I have to be in my back brace 24 hours a day, but I am allowed to take it off for gymnastics only. I've been volunteering as a coach for the beginner program for around 3 years now. And last year, I was awarded with the great honor of receiving the Michelle Palza Award. I love the Ojai Valley Gymnastics program, and I have amazing coaches. Thank you.
She's also qualified state championships this year, which are April 10th through 12th, and has a very good shot at going regionals, which is a new one for Ojai Valley Gymnastics.
Congratulations.
Vicki, Rebecca, are those the awards that you've received?
Yes,
Just this season.
Can you tell us a little bit about, are they the,
Okay.
looks like you're weighted down pretty good.
Yeah. Out of all 4 competitions I've done this season, I have placed in all of them. I have, how should I?
Jeez,
Yeah.
I wish everyone could see.
I hope the camera gets this.
I know.
There's a range from, I have received first place sometimes, and sometimes I've received from first place to like 9th place, but I'm usually up in the higher area. And then,
Yeah, can you come up, Rebecca, can
Yeah,
you come up here so
so
everyone
that
can see
the
you?
camera can see this. This is
If you come here and face that way,
turned around that way, and it's kind of, I mean, you have probably 10?
let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10.
That's a good eyeball right there.
Outstanding. I think everybody.
Yeah.
And then we have another Michelle Paul's a recipient, which is Heta Katri, and she is currently 17 years old.
Hello, my name is Heta, and I'm 17 years old. I've been a part of Ojai Valley Gymnastics for over 9 years. I started when I was 8 years old and quickly moved up to team and started competing. Also, I've been volunteering as a coach for over 5 years. I've coached the kinder gym class, and I'm currently coaching the beginner class. I'm a level 8 gymnast, and recently I just qualified for level 9. And in comparison, you would see like level 10 is Olympic level, so I'm kind of up there. And also, I qualified to state championships. I am a senior at Nordhoff High School, and last semester I received a 4.75 GPA. I'm one of the top 5 students in my school, and I take 4 AP classes, and along with that I do gymnastics. I do it 3 days a week, come right after school, come home at like 7, do all my homework, and repeat like all the time. So yeah. I've applied to about 8 colleges, and including UCLA, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, UC Berkeley, and I'll be hearing from them this month. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, good job.
What's your award?
Oh yeah.
Come up so everyone can see you.
Because we're different levels and stuff.
They average about 36 hours for what she beats me.
Yeah, I compete against girls who have like
A minimal of 20 hours a week.
20 hours a week.
And that's, that's the people that don't score.
Yeah, so I'm pretty proud of these.
Congratulations, yes.
Thank you.
So, in conclusion to all this, these 2 ladies will be performing at the Michelle Palza Memorial Show on April 24th. Doors open at 6 p.m. You have my paper. Doors open. Doors open at 6 p.m. and we ask for a $5 donation at the door. I strongly encourage all of you guys to come and witness what amazing, phenomenal gymnasts that we have in this city and how the program runs. Do you want any?
Vicki, can you tell us a little bit about the program so everyone knows what you guys are doing, and also the fact that you share the facility with everybody
Yes.
else?
We set it-
We're always amazed by that.
We set it up in the morning or night, have gymnastics running the entire day, 18 months to 18. Jonathan's 18?
18, yeah.
We have an 18-year-old participating. And then we have to take it down at night so basketball can come play basketball. And then we do it again Wednesday and then Friday. We only cost $55 for an 8-week session. Fees are pretty low because most of my staff does choose to volunteer to keep our fees low so everyone can participate. Then
And how many children do you have in the program right now?
we have 215. We were at 213 until I got here. Now it's 215.
And that's our most successful
Yeah,
program.
it's pretty consistently that. We have wait lists right now. In fact, we overbooked because of Michelle Palza. We wanted all the kids to be able to participate so their parents could come watch. So we kind of enrolled them all, but we usually have wait lists.
It's a great program. My daughter's 26, and I remember she was taking
It's
gymnastics.
I
Fun.
would say you look familiar, and I recognize a lot of you guys.
Well, if you
Mommy and me
can, this is
classmate.
what we create. This is pretty amazing to me, to be able to come and,
Very
I
High
mean,
school, big GPAs, college, like,
great role models.
just a good thing.
They're going to affect a lot of children, and hopefully we affected them to help raise great kids.
Well, the proof, I think, Vicki, is around both of their neck. That
Right?
You guys have done an outstanding job out there. So-
They work hard, very hard.
And I think you've been with the program 20,
Oh, 30, well, 25, I've been 22, so 25? You're working on 25 years?
Well,
now?
at 25 paid, yeah. This is my 25th year working on it. I'm on 24 something, yeah.
And would you guys like to say anything about your booster club? Because I think you have a,
We have an amazing
Amazing
parents
booster
group.
club. Mhm.
They do
I'm not sure
all
what the
our
name is, but
Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group.
parents group, okay.
Part of my board.
Good.
And they raise all the funds for our equipment, which I know I was requested a list, but we're short-staffed at the rec center, so I didn't get a chance to look them up before today. And our next thing is we are getting a new set of bars. They're approximately $5,000.
Very
And
impressive.
so our parents group is out there selling candles, and they've supplied me to keep our equipment safe. We have USAG, USA Gymnastics Federation regulation equipment, which most rec centers don't.
Right.
In fact, most gyms we compete in don't. So it's really nice. It's safe, well padded, well kept up, and it's all due to them.
I think we were asking if you had a wish list of.
Yeah, that was our
equipment.
bars. We're getting a new set right now because they are hard to set, and these are pretty much my only two tall ones. I have the 8-year-olds, and we have to set the equipment since we set up and take down, and it's
Right.
very hard to set our bars right now. So we are
Yeah.
saving right now. Our top is a set of bars that's about $5,000,
Yeah,
and then
that
we're
is-
going for the tumble track, which I think was 4,000.
But yes,
I
get
think
that
with-
list.
Oh,
in.
Yeah, I
6,500.
think it would be great to support such a successful program and maybe the fundraisings for travel and things like that.
That would be
Not-
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
yeah.
we should have the best equipment if we can.
HETA,
You know, say
if HETA makes regionals, because to make regionals, when they go to the state championships, they have to obtain a certain score at the state championships to make regionals. And for Becca to make regionals, she has to obtain a 33 all around, which she already stated that she currently gets 35s basically at all the meets. And for HETA to make states, she has to obtain a 34 all around to make her regionals at states. And if HETA makes it, HETA's regionals is in Arizona this year, which is,
And it costs the staff $360 for their uniform to be allowed on the floor.
there's a-
Coach.
yeah. You have to have like a special jacket, a special shirt, special pants, like the whole thing has to be all.
But yeah, definitely get that list in,
Yeah.
because the question was not so that, it was so that we can help
Definitely.
Good support.
support that with
Yeah.
That would be
funds where we
great.
can, as we plan forward for the capital improvements and different things.
I've inquired on costs and hadn't got a response because the
Yeah.
people that supply us with equipment are hosting all the meets, and they have and so I'm waiting for real amounts
You're waiting
before I
on
give
them,
you
yes.
a real
Yeah.
total.
Thank you guys
Thanks,
so
you guys.
much. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having us.
Impressive, good job.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just want to take a moment to thank Rebecca and HETA for coming in. Thank you for coming tonight, and also especially to Vicky and Stacy. We're trying to feature some of the staff before the commission here so that you can hear a little bit directly about what they do and who they are and some of our successful programs. So we figured we'd start with the best one. So thank you again for coming in
thank you
tonight.
so much.
Also, a quick note to the commission, we are working on trying to see if we can get the Michelle Palza videotaped and onto Channel 10. So we're working to see if we can make that happen. So thanks
I can
again.
tell you it'll be a dream come true. They miss not having it all videotaped anymore. It used to be in,
Yeah, because it used to be on, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember watching.
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be a really cool thing if that can happen.
that's great.
We're working on it.
My fingers crossed, so yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to be able to make it happen. I want to say for sure, but almost. We're almost there.
You know some people. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Have a good night.
Well, I'll just add to what Mr. McClary said about bringing in sort of recreation department guest speakers. So before I came here tonight, I was thinking of the next group for April, and I'll talk a little more with Mr. McClary, but our Kung Fu program went from a core of 3 kids to 15 to 20 kids per month. It's on a monthly participation. And those 3 Trailblazer kids that started probably 2 years ago are still in the program. And much like HETA and Rebecca that were here, I'd like to potentially for the April meeting invite those 3 young men that basically started that program at the rec department, along, of course, with the instructor. So, and I'm hoping they'll even do a demo in here because they're quite amazing. How much they've learned in 2 years. It's impressive. So we'll hopefully see that on the April agenda.
Yeah, I think that's a great addition to the agenda. Okay, so we're going to go to approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes dated February 5th, 2015.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Second that.
So you would just ask all those in favor at this
Oh,
point?
sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm still thinking about gymnastics, sorry. Okay, and now on to discussion items. So our first one is Libby Park Playground and Shade Structure. Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Recommendations, number one is to receive report from the Ad hoc Park Facilities Committee, update on proposals received for Libby Park Playground equipment process. And number two, consider providing recommendation to the City Council on selection of a consultant for the design build process or continue the discussion to April regular meeting.
So if I could, Chair Ryan, I'd like to suggest, I don't know if you want to start off with the members of the committee or if you'd like to hear Mr. Grant's report. But before that, I just, a quick preamble. I know we're moving fairly quickly on this, and you've entrusted a lot of the review on this to the committee members, and I know that that the entire commission has not had a chance to look at these proposals, so we're certainly cognizant of that. And it's certainly how the commission wants to proceed tonight is up to you. But we'll let the members of the committee speak to what they found. And then Mr. Grant also has some information and a recommendation based on the staff analysis on this.
Okay. Do you want, I think it would be nice
Really,
to hear.
Mr. Grant go first.
I was just going to say, I think,
Yeah.
I think Steve, or Greg should just go ahead and bring it forward. I
Okay.
think I think.
You've had your time to
we've had
discuss
our
it and.
Yeah,
okay.
and I think we're 100% in agreement to what he's going to say.
Okay, great. Do you mind coming up? Thank you.
Your voice is sounding a little better.
Good evening. I'm trying. See if I hang in there. Well, I think as a quick review, the Libby Park Playground has been discussed for about a year now. So really, the ad hoc committee met about a year ago periodically. We had some quick meetings, and we met with some of the playground, modular playground manufacturer. We looked at a lot of their catalogs to get a feel for what was out there. I think most of us know pretty well from seeing playgrounds the basic options that are out there. Although it is evolving, there's some new neat stuff coming out. So, and then I think it was about, I'm trying to remember, the meeting was a month ago or 2 months ago. We came to the commission and we agreed to proceed and go to the council to request proposals formally. So those proposals were received last week. And then the Facilities Committee met twice this week to go over those. And essentially there was two proposals which were the community design build approach. That's what we expected. It's kind of the Leathers Associates, which is the company that was around roughly 40 years ago who started the whole concept. And they did the playground in Santa Barbara. That's the Kids World at Alameda Park. And then there's also did the one down in the Midtown area of Ventura at Blanche School, I think it is, Blanche Reynolds. And you can kind of get a feel for both those were done. One is very simple, one is more complex up there. But I also, when we searched all around the country, every city that said they had their kind of the most unique, popular playground was these Leathers Associates playgrounds. So during the request for proposals, we opened up a little bit and offered the option to modular playground equipment manufacturers if they wanted to try to submit on it, and they did. 3 of them did. So we really had a category of these 3 modular playground companies that said, we'll go out and do what they do. We'll go out and get the community input, and we'll design a playground using our components, and then your volunteers can build it. So it's more like a community volunteer build of prefabricated components. That's what their 3 were. And then there was 2 that was the community design build in the more classic approach, which Leathers Associates is known for. So it turned out that another company has formed about 5 years ago with some of the key players from Leathers Associates, and they formed a company called Play by Design. So there's really Play by Design and Leathers that are the more classic community design build approach. And then these 3 modular companies that did it. So I think the committee looking at it really appreciated that these guys that do the classic community design build have really got it down. They know how to facilitate this process, whereas the modular people were going to try it, but it was a very new thing. They had very minimal. One company had a touch of experience, but they had a little experience with volunteer builds, but they really weren't following through the full community design build process. And feel free to give me the look at ad hoc committee if you feel like I'm wandering off here at any point. So it really got down to these two companies. We interviewed them on the phone. We looked through their proposals more carefully, and it's a very difficult decision. So the committee had last recommended just yesterday that I do as much calls. I'd already made several calls to various organizations that have built these playgrounds, and I made more calls yesterday and today. And really, in the end, I found that everybody really appreciated both companies. They really felt Leathers had done a very good job. And I would ask the play-by-design people and say, wow, how did you end up picking them? And their answer was they seemed more passionate than Leathers. They're more innovative. They're some of the key people, and they seem to be really pushing to try to break new ground from what Leathers had established as kind of the classic profile of how they built these playgrounds. And I think the committee in the end felt like, I think we all agreed that either one of these companies would work very well. And I think that's true. And in further discussion and investigation, I really found that surprisingly in 5 years, this play-by-design is now doing roughly the same amount of business as Leathers is, surprisingly. So that's a good sign that people appreciate it. And if you look at their playgrounds, there does seem to be some slightly more innovative modular pieces they're using around and integrating into the playgrounds. So I think it's extremely matched, but I think that each one has their advantages. But the fact is that the guy that started the Leathers company was with the business for about 35 years and retired 5 years ago, and it seemed to create a big shakeup in that company. And now they've got a lot of the key people left and formed this play-by-design, and they're doing really well. And so tough call, but I think that play-by-design probably is a slightly higher recommendation. I think they'll be a little bit more innovative and a little more passionate, and play-by-design is recommended by staff at this point.
Was cost involved at all, or I'm sure it depends on what you get.
Yeah.
But
The costs were,
$50 change.
Yeah.
$50 difference between the two proposals.
and I should mention the cost was about $35,000 anticipated. It was slightly less, right? $34,850
What
or
we
so.
were comparing didn't include travel for one and include travel for the other, but after we backed off the travel out of the other one, it's about a $50 difference.
well, doesn't it depend on what you're actually getting though? And that doesn't that depend on the interaction and?
They're pretty much facilitating the process, so it's really,
So close.
yeah, they're pretty much travel time and consulting time and design time, and that's pretty well fixed, so it's really
The proposal
consulting.
on this was consultant services for a community built playground. And so when you're hiring them, it isn't, the first part of the first phase is they literally come and do the design with your community and get that started. That's the first phase of the contract. And after that's done, you'll get a scope of work and you'll have a better sense of what your costs will be for their professional services for the whole design. And that's a set fee with both of them for the design day, where they come and gather information from your community. They do work with you up front of that. And then you have that design day, and then they go and do that. And after that, you're gonna get better costs on what the actual facility is gonna cost to build. But with this type of build, you're not buying any materials from them at all. All you're paying them for is their services.
Right.
And so the materials cost won't come till later after the design, and the scope of the work for the design is based on the size of the park and approximately what you would put in that space. So it could, it's in these proposals, and we can pull it out here, what that portion of the design cost would be. But that would only vary based on if you added a water element or something like that, that would dramatically change your design cost. But based on the size and the approximate type of structure that we think we're gonna have, I don't think the variability is gonna be much based on what they've quoted. But the price you have is not a hard and fast price in the quote either, but.
And we've discussed it with them fairly significantly up to this point. So they know what the square footage of the playground is. They know what we can fit, they know what our budget is, so they have a feel for what the time is.
Okay, that answers
In
it.
the end, they give you a dollar amount that says it'll cost this much for design. We have, their proposal says it'll cost this much for the design portion and this much to build the playground. And they give you a price range, and it's within the range that we're looking to spend.
And they really expect, they said they cushioned a little bit, they expect that, I think it was $17,000 for the design phase. And then, because the big cost really, it's fairly minor to come out and do the design day. That was in the range of $3,000 with travel and so on. But the next phase is when they do the design, they go back and actually put all the detailed drawings together. And that's, I think, around $17,000.
Yes, yeah, or
And then the last phase is during the construction for a week or two, having one or two construction people overseeing the project to make sure it's built properly, and that was about $17,000. So really, they even expect in that design phase, there'll be a couple iterations of that we'll get it back and we'll have comments on it, and it'll cycle through a couple times. Yeah.
And that was, I mean, the biggest difference between these two proposals were very much on point for the kind of requests for proposals we put out there, and the others
Just
really
seemed-
weren't, they weren't that type of proposal. They might contract out someone who might have done a community build once or something like that, but really what they were doing is selling you materials. And the design was ancillary to that. And the designs with these are all fully custom. Well, one of the things they ask for up front is history about the history of your town, the culture of your town, all these things. Even before they get here, they're doing research. So the playground reflects that, whereas the other companies are only able to sell you what they have, which are fixed components. So these two were the two out of all that we reviewed. And again, I totally agree with what Greg said. I don't think we're going to go wrong.
No, not at all. Both
Either way.
companies.
Yeah.
Both companies were outstanding.
Was there anything different in how they approached the community outreach
No.
part? No.
No,
I was
everything
curious.
seems to be-
One broke off of the other.
Yeah, so-
I think that's because both of those companies were all working together at one point. So they know what Leathers does and design by, or projects by design or play by design. I think they all understood the same concept and what we offered or what we asked them. And then we gave them some good questions too. And while we were interviewing them on the phone, and I just felt myself, I felt very comfortable from both of them that we're going to get a completed project
Yep.
that's going to be nice, and it's not going to be cheap. You know, it's just something that you're not going to go out and buy a prefabricated this. You're going to actually get good, honest pricing for good equipment. The equipment is outstanding, but they gave us several recommendations of different companies and stuff that we can purchase from, so.
And I'm also curious, when you called some of their referrals that are listed, were they all within budget? At the end of the day, was it?
Yes, they were. Yeah, a lot of them had, especially this play by design, had a little bit more of it where they take a kind of an a la carte list of all kinds of neat components that they would like to add, but they didn't fit within their budget because they promote that you dream big and you have this design be kind of an overkill, and then you can add this a la carte components that are on the side, the ones that are modular components that can be added, and they can be expensive, like rock walls or rock features that are all prefabricated and you drop in place. And those were kind of things, they had a list, and they try to get donors that'll buy all that kind of thing.
But
So,
at the end of the day, on those projects, were they within the city's budget?
in most of these, I guess it was a mix, but there were some that were all city, but a lot of these things are all volunteer driven, and they raise the money after they get the estimate to hit it.
So they weren't, it
Right.
may not have been a fixed budget.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
And I think that was why they use that approach, because if you have a wish list,
Yeah.
they're pulling off the wish list, and it allows them to go beyond what they know they already had accomplished.
So in here, it talks about organization day, design day, and then the actual build. And Play by Design has 2 people here for a 6-day build.
Yep.
So are they going to be in Ojai for a total of 8 days through this whole thing? Is that it? I mean, is the design day literally just one day?
The design day, they start in the evening before. They get here in the evening, they do some meetings that evening. The next day, they spend the whole morning collecting information from kids. And then they spend, they'll have a steering committee meeting, a meeting with their steering committee, and then they spend the rest of the afternoon coming up with the schematic, like their initial design. They literally make a big picture with color and everything else of what they imagine in the playground. And then in the evening, they have yet another meeting with the whole entire community to present that design and really kickstart the effort for the fundraising and getting everybody very excited about it. And one of the very specific questions we asked both companies is, okay, how can we get more feedback at that meeting? And that isn't always what they do, but they're willing, there were ways we could do it. I think one of the things we talked about was doing a survey on paper at that meeting, and people could give all kinds of input after the meeting that we then could get back to them after they've left. So there's more opportunities for participation. Before design day, you can have done a survey.
Right.
You can have gone out and we could already host our own groups.
We could, or
Yeah, I
they
think
will?
that-
We will. We
Will they
can,
help facilitate it?
they'll help set, like if we want a survey, they'll design the survey with us and for us.
Okay.
So there are services involved that that was what I heard on the phone Part of what was interesting, we did these phone calls because we got these and they're $50 difference for price.
Right,
They
exactly.
look so similar. We had about 5 questions where we had differences we thought we might see between them. And so we did conference calls with both companies to ask clarifying questions on any of the things we were
The
curious
reason I
about.
ask about the community involvement is that, I think to get a project like this off the ground with a community build, you definitely need to start the community involvement early.
Right.
And I don't think, one morning of a design, is going to do it. It's going to need to be
Before then, you'll
weeks
already,
and whatnot.
you'll already
Yeah.
have your
Reaching out to
steering committee.
everybody.
You'll already
Absolutely.
have quite a few of these things
That
in
was my
place.
question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
And I could see us at the park.
we actually, we talked about that, and I think our thinking under discussion was going right in line with that. And just to be clear, neither of them were proposing, basically it was, in terms of that design day community engagement, they were really saying that's more on us and encouraging us to work on that, but that they would help us, like if it was
Like
a
if there's a
survey or
survey
something
that
like
will
that.
write the
But
survey.
we talked about that in terms of, we're gonna need to probably bring together some type of, again, there's a steering committee, which is a little different, and then probably as a subset to that, we need to have some type of community outreach meeting. We talked about, boy, that would be a great way to bring in representatives from the Arts Commission, Historic Preservation, the schools, youth,
Stakeholder meeting we can
exactly, to try and,
Excitement throughout the
Yeah.
community.
exactly, but we definitely recognize that part would have to fall on us, that the way that this is proposed, and that's something that we would definitely work on. That would definitely be something we know would get done.
Now, mind you, too, this is a 6-day build. If we go over 6 days, we will be paying more
By the
money.
day, and I think it was
By the
about
day.
$2,400 a day. Is that what we figured?
Yeah, wasn't it
I
20?
think I calculated it.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
It was $2,400 a day.
So,
But I don't-
but I think at that point, so far, we've got a commitment from a group in Ojai, and we've got another commitment that's trying to come in now too to help. I don't think we're gonna have any issues with getting people out there. Then plus, both of these have in mind having actual kids out there working on it too. I mean, they won't be using the saws and the drills and all that other stuff, but they'll be able to help clean up, push things out, help put things together, and use a ratchet and and put stuff up. I think that's what both of them, and I think both of them are in a position to where if they do come to California, they're coming here for a big event. And they want this to be a big event. They want it to be a grand opening and so I think that, and their name's on this. So, that's one thing, Mr. Grant can go back and say, well, they didn't do a very good job for us. I think that we're looking at 2 companies that are very competitive, that want to stamp their name on it and be proud of what they've done, so.
Did they have any feedback on the project schedule?
You mean about our project schedule to get it built this fall? I think some projects where they're really doing significant fundraising on their own, which we're unique in that respect, we plan to have most of the funding covered. That's when they need a lot of time. So sometimes if you're really pulling together one of these $1 million projects, they need more time. But they felt ours is very doable based on the fact that we have most of the funding.
Yeah, that
So-
would be great. I mean, that's November.
Right, and I think when Commissioner Inner was kind of mentioning there that, the fundraising, half of ours is fundraising and half really is rallying up the volunteers to get the whole base set. But the fact that we have the Lions Club behind us, and the Optimist Club is now interested, and I think the Rotary Club has already been interested, we should say. And so I think we've got a lot of momentum already going before it's even committed, the whole thing
We
here.
can still offset services, correct? Just like we did with the skate park by licensed contractors and like that donation.
As long as it's volunteer effort.
Donation versus-
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So we can have that, and we could have, absolutely, we can have this à la carte concept. We have these modular components. If we want to add, like I was just talking to a guy, I think it's called McKinley Park up in Sacramento, if anybody happens to know it. And that was built 2 years ago, and that was Play by Design. And it had, that guy they said they had so much fun during the build day. That's when everything comes together. People enjoyed it so much. He said, you should let us know when it's going to happen, because there's a good chance they'd send a group down here to help out.
Love
And I
it.
was saying,
Come
are you
on
serious?
down.
Come
Okay.
on down.
But he just thought it was terrific, and it's amazing now. You just go on the internet and Google McKinley Park, Sacramento, and it comes up with 1 million shots of the old, when they had an old Leathers playground that burned down. Someone vandalized it and burned it down, and it rallied up the whole neighborhood to gather. I think they got $650,000 And then they built this great playground with all kinds of neat stone figures. You know, they've got these frogs and a big steelhead fish coming out of their sandbox there, and all these different things, and a rock climbing wall. So the guy just sounded so excited. It was 2 years ago, and he just really got jazzed up talking about it.
And as far as donations too, we can look for things like donations of hotel stays. There are other ways to defer costs where we can go to the community hotel stays. Food is something we're definitely going to need, because that's one of in the organization, they have places where you provide food. And so, and there's committees to organize all this stuff, and they help create the structure for which we plug everyone in the committees. They have a really good handle on how to do that. I was thinking even, someone who has a lot of airline miles. You could get people to donate flights. I know they've done that with other charities and different organizations. So, I mean, there's different things, we can go after a lot of different things to cut down on costs in using community resources.
And Commissioner Roddick, I think, has mentioned he's already worked with Habitat for Humanity, and they Lowe's, I think, has these trailers, right? You were mentioning, and they
Trailers?
Yeah, they've got complete tools in them
Nice.
that they can bring out to job sites and stuff, so.
So it sounds promising, and it's
But I
Very
really
exciting.
think that you're between your Optimist Club with the contractors that I know that are in there, and then the contractors that are inside the
Lions.
Lions Club, you've got a tremendous amount of expertise there. And that's that's so good for us. And I was gonna ask you too, did you ever figure out if this is the first time this has been done in this city, a design build?
As far as I can do is talk to the crew and so on, and they are definitely saying we've only used modular playgrounds as far as they're aware.
I think
This has
some of
been
the
done.
schools have done it.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, San Antonio had one years and years ago when I was not in the city, I guess. But the schools have historically done some of these. But
Their own design build type playground.
Monica Ross had one that the dads designed and built themselves out there that was certified, fully
Oh.
certified by a playground specialist. And San Antonio used to have one, I don't know if anyone remembers Big Toys, which are the big log playground sets. That was all built by parents. So, I mean, I think definitely there's that, we have that, lots of people in the community who'd be willing to do that kind of stuff. We have other examples of it over time. We just
And
haven't
I
done it in a while.
That's what's great, is it's gonna bring everybody together. We have a lot of fun, that's.
It's right there. Do you have any examples of the art element that some of these playgrounds have incorporated?
It seemed to be,
I've seen but I'm just curious, like how they had the community participate in that.
I mean, what I've seen a lot of is that if the community wanted to go with the art angle, a lot of them went with this mosaic tile approach, and a lot of them also, when they would take and kind of cut the plastic lumber into shapes like whatever their item was. If it was a ship or whatever, they did very customized little pieces they cut out. Sometimes to make their theme work, right? Sometimes those were colored lumber that they used. Sometimes they painted the lumber.
I don't know, we were on one of our conference calls, and I can't remember which firm it was anymore. They offered, if you want to do that kind of thing and you have artists, they would like to talk to the artists ahead of design day.
Exactly.
They want to front load the process, but they
Yeah,
offered as consultants to talk.
If we
If
have
you
a
have an art
mosaic
group
or
or an
something,
art committee,
yeah, they would like to
they'd
have
like
that
to talk
art
to them and get
committee. Okay,
involved
great.
with them early on so that they can integrate in and know what, because it's all about figuring out what your resources are. So they really like the public art.
Good.
Or,
And
that
it'd be nice-
component of it.
And like you said, that the other commissions as well, like planning. you
Yeah,
know,
well-
So it doesn't get so I don't know, like it should be fun, but you don't want to have like a bunch of post office.
Well, I think,
I mean, whatever people want,
It
but.
needs to be functional.
Do you know what I mean? It
for-
needs to-
Not only for play, but for maintenance.
Yeah, because some of them are so themey that it goes like way out there, and we're right downtown. Like you want that element, and you want it to be fun. It's obviously for children, but at the same time, you don't want to like look through the art.
you don't want to overwhelm the park.
Yeah, you don't want to like take. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a beautiful thing about Libby Park and the trees and the
Kind of the simplicity without overwhelming it with too
exactly.
much
But you
art
want
and
it to
too
be
much,
fun
yeah.
and exciting for the kids. But there's sort of this fine balance that maybe.
It does seem that up front there really is a lot to do with the steering committee to kind of set limitations. Like we were already I took pictures today. I know Commissioner Roddick was out there looking from the arcade out over the pergola and how much height is out there, and how high is a reasonable height to make it, and
Not only
discuss that.
But there is a section that you can look straight through and see the playground.
Through the big arch,
Through-
right?
Through the arch,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
so
Frame that
everything is
and
just
think about
open
that.
wide up.
So we can open up those discussions up front and try to come in and discuss it here and also with arts and maybe the Historic
And I think that's a
Preservation
stakeholders
Commission.
meeting that you do
Yeah.
long before your design day, long before your design
Yeah,
day,
well-
where you get together with your stakeholder groups and.
I think that's a benefit of us rolling forward right now is we can get approval, get moving, go to everybody, because we want to get to the schools before they go out for the summer, break for the summer. So that makes a pretty quick schedule for us here.
I did experience this sort of process with the skate park, and it was really a great process. All the children, the parents, putting in their thoughts and design elements that they wanted, and then the designers
Right.
taking all that and making it functional and bringing it back. It was a
And
great
it's the
process.
same
It's the
kind of
same
idea.
thing, but
Uh-huh.
it'd be great to have, I
And
mean,
there's a certain amount of excitement, I think, already out there
Yep.
about this. idea,
Exactly,
you know, That
yeah.
people are talking about, so.
And part of going to the
we
schools is
capitalize on that
generating
now.
all that, is generating
Yeah.
that too, because each kid, like, they'll go to the school and they meet with every class.
Mhm.
And so each one of those kids has fully participated and been engaged in it, and they go home.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, not only that, the thrill of seeing one of their things that they thought of
Yeah.
being on the plan is gonna be even, even bigger.
And then help with it, it's like full circle, so it's really great.
I guess we need to make a motion or
I-
a recommendation.
If I could just make a quick comment, we definitely will be engaging with the Arts Commission and the arts community, and we do have some good experience there with public art. And of course, we have some incredibly wonderful, talented artists in the community. So I'm very excited to see what they will come up with for this. So.
Yeah, me too.
But yes, to answer your question, if the commission's ready, it's certainly your option on the agenda if you want to make a recommendation to the city council at this time.
Well, I would like to make move forward with the recommendation that the staff go forward to the city, city council for approval, and we go ahead and start the ball rolling on this, so we can hit our times.
So approval to award the contract?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like to play by design.
Play by design, yes, I'm sorry.
So the commission would recommend Play by Design as a consultant to, I don't know if I think we'd call him a consultant facilitator.
To award the RFP to.
RFP, yeah, the proposal.
Contract for the design build for
Right.
Libby Park Playground
There we go.
equipment.
I think you got it.
That's what I meant.
You know what we mean.
Such a good secretary.
So there you have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can-
Okay, call for the vote.
So all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good.
Thank
Th-
you for
thank
all
you very
the work
much.
on that.
So excited.
Appreciate it. And thanks to you guys for that. I know it's a
Oh,
lot of
it's-
extra
It
work.
was a lot of fun.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Looks
You
great.
guys been doing this for months, so
You can
thank
hold on if you want.
Oh, and I think, did we end up scanning?
I scanned that one booklet, but in
So the-
fairness
Yeah.
to the other company, we didn't scan the other. so
Well, I'm
we
happy to
sent-
provide any materials that the commission wants. If you'd like I can give you, certainly we'll send you along the proposal from Play by Design if you'd like to see the leathers as well. The other ones I have hard copies of, so it might be a little hard, it might be a little time consuming to scan that and get that out, but if you'd like to look at
Copy
them.
of this, though.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
They have it ready.
Yes, we'll-
It's already scanned.
Yes,
If
we
somebody
can,
in the public wanted
send
to
it to
come see
everybody.
this, where would they go?
That'd be
Come to you?
they can come to our
City
office,
Hall?
or they could contact the city clerk, and she could facilitate
What I would ask
making
is,
that
I would
available.
just ask them to send you, this is a PDF probably. They can,
s-
Play by
something like-
Design would send
It's
one.
already been,
It's in a-
Yep.
it's already in a
Okay, I
PDF.
was gonna say.
So we'll
you-
just send it to
Right.
everybody and then.
We could send it and we could also post it.
Yeah, we can post it on the
So
website too.
then anyone at home can look through it and not have to come down. Although we
Uh-huh.
want you to come to City Hall, but,
You
it's a lot easier to open a
suggesting
file
both
out. of it.
websites too? Right,
Yeah,
we
on
can
your
put it
Park
the
and Rec.
Park and Rec and City?
Sure.
That would be great. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Sarasota Park Master Plan. So recommendations?
Sorry,
Thank
going-
you.
Sorry, going back real quick
Oh,
to
sorry.
posting it on both websites, can we also put it on the Facebook page? Like,
Yeah.
hey,
A link to it?
yeah,
Sure.
put a link to the website.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely, and that will also, when you talk about reaching out to the community.
Exactly.
We haven't
Throw it on the
quite got
Facebook.
to 1,000 likes yet on our Facebook page, but we're moving in that direction. We're probably close to about 700 on our
Thanks.
Facebook page, and we have obviously quite a big database that we can reach out to for
Well, maybe
input from the
Libby,
community.
maybe this project will get you there.
What's that?
That might.
The Libby Playground.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Your
thousands, right.
likes, it'll get you over 1,000.
Our 1,000 likes or
Yeah.
1,000 friends of
There you go. I remember when you
department.
when you
Yeah.
guys just started.
So, Mr. Kotsis, if you could follow up getting that on the Recreation website page and the Facebook, and I'll make sure that it gets up on the city website.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
welcome.
Good suggestion. Okay, so Sarasota Park Master Plan is our next agenda item. I also, you know what, we didn't ask anyone in the public if they had.
Was Greg not wanting to comment on the plan? You're working on that one. He's only working on.
That's correct.
You have that, and you have Sarasota Master Plan.
He's the lead on the Libby, and I am the lead on the Surzati, correct?
So we don't have any speaker items, so I'm going to, speaker card, sorry. So I'm going to move on. Unless, did you want to talk about it? Okay. Move on to B, Sarasota Park Master Plan. So recommendations to receive report from the Ad hoc Park Facilities Committee. Update on proposals received for the Sarasota Park Master Plan update. And number 2, consider providing recommendation to the City Council on selection of a consultant for the master plan or continue the discussion to the April regular meeting, so.
So if I could give a report on that. So we've received 2 proposals. They came in on Monday. I've given them to, I got to make sure I have copies. I believe I gave them in the stack to Commissioner Becker. We distributed them this week, but that's as far as we got because we spent all of our time talking about the consultant for Libby Park and had a follow-up meeting on that. So we'll be scheduling the committee again. Hopefully you can find some time and we'll get together and review that. Just didn't have time to get through all that with everything. So our recommendation would be to put that on the agenda for April.
Okay.
And we'll definitely find some time to get the committee together as many times as needed. But we've got 2 proposals. They both look really good. And but we have not had a chance to sit down and discuss and review those.
Can you email those to the commissioners
Yeah,
as
make
well?
PDFs. That would
Yep.
be nice.
So we can all take a look at it?
Sure, I'll send those out, if not tomorrow, next week, so that you have them well in advance of the
And
April
then they can
meeting.
send comments to you,
Yes.
Individually, correct?
not to us.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to, we'll move that to the April regular meeting then?
Correct. You might ask if you have any public comments
Does
on that.
anyone have comments regarding the RFP process or anything about the Sarasota master plan? Anything? Okay. So we'll get that and we can review it and then come back
Sounds
ready
good.
to go on.
And if we do that, we'll be able to get on the agenda, right after our meeting. to
I
move it
have
forward
that s-
If it's good to go.
Yeah, we would take that, that would be the
City
thought, to
council.
take it to the April Park and Rec meeting.
Right.
And
And council,
then
we could get on.
it's, yeah, I'm looking for my updated
know.
list. I think we've already got
I think for us to
that.
miss yet another
Right,
cycle.
another month.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it, but I know we've got it scheduled for, I think I've got an old list in front of me, but we're planning to bring that to council on April 14th, assuming the Parks Commission is okay with making a recommendation at the April meeting.
Right.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. I just want
Yeah,
to
that
make
way
sure
we
we
don't
weren't
hold-
going to hold anything up.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll move on to item C.
Oh, and I'm sorry, since you're mentioning it, and just so that the community and the commission is aware, we would be taking the recommendation that you made on the Libby Park consultant to city council on March 24th.
I'll make that down.
So moving along.
Okay. So moving on to C, appointment, or, well, again, we don't have any speaker cards tonight, so we're moving on. Appointments to ad hoc committee on naming of parks and public facilities. Recommendation, appoint 1 member of the commission to fill the vacancy on the committee. Former Commissioner Haney had
Who was
this
the other
position.
member?
The other members was Commissioner Becker?
Oh, yes, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, it was just.
Just the
yeah.
two.
Correct,
Okay.
right. And we got quite a bit of ways on that, and then it got pushed to the back burner, I'm sorry to say, and we've not been able to get back to it. And then subsequently, we've been down a committee member. So we'd like to get back to that and bring a recommendation forward to Parks Commission. So
And
so that would
everyone's
be our.
aware, are you aware of that committee, Adam, as far as what they were
No.
doing? Can you maybe give them
Sure.
a brief?
Yeah, so we had a couple of recent incidents that puts a bad light on it, where, questions came up in terms of, if somebody wanted to donate, a bench or, and then have, and then be, named or a memoriam for somebody, policy for naming of facilities, we don't have anything on the books right now. So the city council asked for the Parks Commission to work on that and to develop a recommendation on a policy. And we started by looking at samples from several different cities, and as I stated, we got pretty far along, but we didn't get a chance to complete that work. But that's the idea, is to bring something forward that talks about, what would be the city's policy if we get a request for, to name a facility, or if somebody wanted, again, to donate something. And part of it is figuring out, what that process and procedure would be, who maintains it, who pays for it, what would be acceptable, what would not, and what things would, what actions would need city council approval. So it's to develop that a comprehensive policy to hopefully address all
I
that.
feel like you got pretty far. You had examples
We
from
did.
other cities. It was coming down to substrates and.
I think it came down to, it had a little more work when we
Yeah.
came down
Yep.
to the difference between like a major facility and a plaque.
Yeah.
And really trying to differentiate the process to address two pretty different, and I think you guys already got a ways on that too, but I think it slowed down when it got to there, trying to figure out how to work
Just to
that out.
clarify that.
Yeah.
And then the application for that.
Yes.
as
We're
well.
pretty
Right.
And then the
far
maintaining of
forward
the.
on the application, though,
You
right?
were.
We
Yeah,
were,
you got really
yeah.
far.
I think you even had two applications, didn't you, at one point?
We did,
You had two
yes.
You had one for a major facility versus
Right.
a plaque.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it.
Okay,
And then
so we just
maintenance.
So
needed a member.
probably a couple of meetings, we could probably wrap it up, I'm guessing, but,
Yeah.
again, that's, when the committee feels that they're okay with it, we would bring
Is
it
there
forward.
Anyone interested in?
I don't mind doing it since I took Randy's spot. If
Our newest commissioner.
He inherited his committee too, yeah.
There you go.
That's no problem.
Well, if you didn't, I was gonna nominate Dwayne.
That's right, he's the empty chair.
Yeah, I was gonna nominate somebody, but they gave me the evil eye, so.
What? Oh.
I
Wasn't
think,
me.
I think the newbie should.
That's fine,
Yeah.
definitely.
But right now,
Are we good
yeah,
with
he's
that?
busy
Do
right
you
now.
Do you need anything official,
We
or?
don't need a motion from that.
since Okay.
Okay.
We were gonna volunteer Adam.
I was getting the eye from.
The new guy gets to.
Sorry, my mic was off. No, we don't need a motion on that. We can go forward with that direction. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
And we'll get in touch with you, Commissioner Dutter and Commissioner Becker, and find a time that works for everybody. And of course, we've got a few other things to knock off here with the Sarzati master plan, but once we can get through that and
It may be
maybe
still
some
in the back burner
bike
for a
park
little
issue,
while.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No problem.
but we'll get there. Thank you.
Okay. So item D, future capital improvement plans for recreation facilities. Recommendation tonight is to continue discussion on the matter to the April meeting to allow staff further time to research costs for potential projects to consider for capital improvements.
Makes sense to me.
As I alluded to earlier, we just
If you don't have, you need time to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd love more time to.
so, but again, yeah, we heard all those items at the last meeting, and we certainly haven't forgotten about those, and including the restrooms and all that, and we want to put a price tag to that and come back and have that discussion. So, and you heard Vicky, she's working on her list, so it's just taking us a little bit longer time than we anticipated. So, if we could have your indulgence to give us until the April meeting.
I think that's a great idea. I think I personally wanted more time to, even though I dove into it, just to, it's important that we make some.
And again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Okay,
speak
go ahead.
over you, Madam Chair. And again, just it's on the agenda tonight. It's if anybody has any further ideas that they would like to throw out there, it's certainly an opportunity to do so.
Does anyone want to?
Well, we've talked about programs moving forward, asking Vicky about equipment, and that's definitely a program that deserves recognition and some attention for capital improvements or offering that up equipment-wise. But same with our softball program. We're seeing a upswing in participation in that program, and our ball field dirt is an issue in grading those ball fields so they're better to play on. And not just for our own softball program, but we have pony baseball out there renting those fields and girls softball renting those fields. So they get a lot of use. Ball field, it could be $10,000 to $15,000 to do those infields properly, could be even more. So, we talked about it potentially coming out of our annual facilities maintenance budget, but I think it goes beyond the scope of that.
So the list that's in our minutes, I think is the list we're working off of, right?
That's
So
correct.
do you want me to reread it and so everyone can just
Yeah,
hear it?
because
And
I
then
don't
if
know
we
if
want to
that-
add anything
Oh,
else
thank
to the
you.
list?
Yeah.
So we have on there lower Libby bathrooms, floor in the gym, scooter park, Libby playground equipment, which, yep. Upgrade the storage unit for pony baseball and city equipment, which is that shed over on the the baseball diamond
Concert hall?
near the
Oh, the
near
shed.
the playground.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes.
And then discuss partial funding for the skate park lights. Put that on there. And so if we want to, we can put gymnastics equipment on there.
Yeah,
And,
there-
and fields.
Yeah, there was a couple of the things I don't think that got
Awning.
maybe on this list. And
Oh,
yeah, the awning,
CrossFit.
The awning.
Yeah.
the awning, CrossFit. Yeah, I've got,
CrossFit awning.
my list is a little longer than this. Yeah, and also the bike park
Mm-hmm.
was another one in terms of consideration,
Yeah.
what they might be potentially
Exactly.
requesting on
And then we'll
that.
put ball fields on
So
there.
Ball fields, and we're actually talking about two different awnings. The awning above
Oh, in
the-
between.
Between the
and in
buildings.
between the
Right.
gym and the Boyd Center.
And then were
And
you able
over
to talk to
CrossFit.
the
Those are the
CrossFit?
two
CrossFit
things. Okay.
as well.
Were you
yeah.
able to
So-
touch base with them? And I can't imagine they wouldn't want something like that, but after
They've
looking at it
already,
recently.
I haven't touched base with them. They already have their own makeshift awning.
And their
over it.
lighting is like one of those construction lights, like
It-
attached to the, you
So
know.
let's
Right.
just put CrossFit on
Yes.
there
Yeah.
Yes.
as a general project to look at how to.
Yeah, lighting.
Lighting and shade.
There's
shade,
a
yeah.
really like just fundamentally basic things they need, like shade and lighting, you know, for a really successful program, I think is.
And then the only other thing that I'd like to see on there, because I think I want to keep tickling it for timing, is Sarasota Playground.
I think that's.
It needs to show up, and we need to, and we are at a place now where I think using the information we have, we can give it a realistic number without too much research.
I'll make sure.
On a similar scale to what Libby's gonna do.
Okay.
But so just that it's showing up on the schedule on the CIP instead of it kind of, we talk about it, but it doesn't show up, and I really feel like it needs to show up on there.
Okay.
Are there
Has there
things?
been any thought about moving what's in, at Libby over to Zarazoni? Or is that even doable? I guess Greg would probably.
It is doable.
I don't,
I don't think I would go. I think.
You know,
Yeah, we had some.
keep talking about how old that is. That playground is not that old.
well, whether
in
it's old or
relative
not,
terms.
the difference in what you provide kids with the newer play structures as far as recreational value and, physical fitness and all these different things that they can integrate into it, it's
20-year-old playground.
it's substandard. I mean, what you would do today and the quality of the play that you would get out of a new structure is so much better.
I know what.
Yeah,
what
because
you're
you want to
saying.
repurpose it, but at the same time,
But then again,
it's had its
it
lifetime.
might be a while before we do Zarazoti, and we might want to look at the possibility of moving some of that
Or some
structure
of that,
over
some
there.
of it.
Maybe the
Right,
swing,
that-
And adding
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
There's
and-
something, I mean, it gets a lot of use.
I have a
and
real
that-
issue with that personally, because why are we spending our money at Libby right now when Sarasota is in far worse shape?
Well,
So no, this is where I come from. It is our most used park. It is the center of where our recreation is. It's where the kids are, and we are doing Libby. And I understand the forces that have pushed us to Libby right now, but I don't want to see what Sarasota gets being a second fiddle kind of project, because
I'm not saying it'd be a.
well, I
second
feel
fiddle.
like it would be if we're going to give it the old equipment. And I feel like with where we spend our money and the timing and the prioritization, I have concerns that what we do is not always based on facts and realities. It's based on other pressures that push on things. And so I really feel strongly that we need to be concerned that what we give Sarasota is wonderful and stellar and equally as great as what we give Libby.
Well,
And the master plan will, we would.
Well, but this is also, when you talk about this or moving playground equipment and all this, this is also about prioritization. And if we are moving the older equipment, which is okay over there, they're not going to get the stellar playground and the
That they
focus that
But
Libby
that's-
would,
that's
that they
not-
deserve.
That is not what I just said. I said that we would take equipment from there, put it over there temporarily to add some features, and then give us time to get it. I don't think we said that that's all that's gonna
Oh,
be.
Yeah.
no, but
yeah.
the timing, my fear with that is when you do something, the timing on Sarzodia is, we've looked at it, it's not on the CIP, but we've not talked about it being 10 years out. We've talked about it being more like 5 years out. And so to make that kind of move for 5 years, I don't know if it's there or not, but I would hate to see that then decrease the odds of the bigger project there. So those are all my concerns, and that's that's how my impressions of what could happen when you do things like that.
And
My voice is, what you take from Libby over there would be better than what's there
Right
now.
now, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
For the next
If you're-
5 years.
And if
And
it's
you're-
for 5 years, then
Yeah.
let's say it's for 5 years. But
Even
it
if
is
it's-
certainly
If,
better.
again, you gotta look at the cost benefit
Right.
too. I'm not
Right.
saying it's a done deal. I'm saying that we should look at that.
Yeah,
and
no, that's fair.
Rather than just trash it or.
And the playground-
Turn it to,
Scrap, yeah, let's see what we
scrap.
can use and give something more over there for the bit time that we're gonna, and I'd like to see Zarazoti be right up front within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
I
wanna
was
see a
thinking 2.
5-year out.
Well,
Three,
again,
excuse me, because we're
yes.
at
2 to 3
yeah.
years that we would have what is existing there, and we're not adding any other features.
I
for the
hear what
kids
you're
there.
saying. Yeah.
We'll take that other tire swing. Isn't there another tire
There's some-
swing?
There's a tire, so yes.
We'll take
And
that.
Sarasota.
And the slide.
Sarasota is a smaller, obviously it's smaller, but it's a
Take a
younger.
couple pieces.
And maybe it could be more than that in the
Oh,
future.
it could be so much
Yeah.
more than it is right
Yeah.
now.
Right now it's
I think what we have right now is what we have.
It's like
But I
toddler.
think even with what Brian just said, is we're gonna be throwing this stuff away. I think we should ask the schools.
Yes.
They want
Oh,
to be
I absolutely think
Definitely
that's a great idea.
repurposed.
Yeah,
Who
I
came
mean,
in
I
and
don't-
said,
just don't wanna
who
see it
came
in
in
a
and said they
junk
wanted it at one of our meetings?
I don't know.
Oh, it was Valley Oak Charter.
Valley Oak Charter's like,
They're
we'll
starting
take
up
it.
They're starting up a new.
Yeah.
They said that when they
But
came
I
into our
think-
meeting.
I think that we should look at certain aspects of it, or certain
Keeping what
elements
will
of
work.
it, and keeping that, and moving it down to give a little bit more of what we
In
have.
the interim.
Yeah,
okay.
that's.
My only fear is that if you do something, people feel like it's fixed.
Well, it's not, no, that's not, like I said,
Okay.
that's not what we meant. We meant by just, instead of just throwing it away and
Right.
for be 3 years down the road, give it to them now.
Right.
And we got a little extra.
And my point was, that relative to what we're getting at Libby, yeah, it's secondhand.
Yeah.
But relative to what's out in the valley, it's actually pretty good
You
equipment.
bet. You bet.
I wouldn't think it'd be a step down in a lot of places, including Zarazoti.
Yeah, we haven't had a really modern upgrade to anything for a long time around here.
Can I ask?
All right.
It'd be tough to step down. Well, but I like the equipment. The summer camp kids enjoy the equipment there, but adding
More.
a more, and of course,
And
there'll be some playground envy once Libby Park goes in. But if
Or maybe
we-
it's
if
momentum
there's-
to get the other one done too.
Yeah, but a few pieces from Libby Park, if it's possible, to integrate it in there.
Well, most of this was still certifiable. I mean, by the playground specialists. There were only a couple of pieces that came up with problems in the last.
And I think the problems dealt with more of the base of it,
Surfacing,
The
yeah.
surfacing.
But there were a couple pieces that needed replacing pieces, but I
At
think
Libby,
that was-
right, there's
yeah.
a slide piece that's.
There's
where-
a couple of
Yeah.
pieces.
Because it's got a tear or something in it, or whatever, I think, was it? Something like that?
Yeah, the point is, it's nothing substantial.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and maintenance.
Right,
hours to
right.
Take care of that.
Well, it sounds like something we could definitely take up with when we look at Sarzati, and the whole master planning, in terms of, does it make sense at this point to move something over?
Right.
And of course, we have to just kind of keep in the context of, again, it's that if we make, more or less a permanent change there, are we going to want to move stuff around and, trying to figure all the
Afterwards.
timing of that out, so. But that's what I said, so I think it'd be a good question to look at as we look at Sarzati Park and the uses and what we need and what we want there, and just make sure that we don't let this opportunity potentially pass us by, because you're right, once it's up and gone, it's gone.
And whatever isn't usable, I think it is a lovely idea to offer it up to the school district or other, agencies that might have interest.
Okay. I have a question just on the baseball fields. Is that something similar to the skate park, like we should budget every year for that? Instead of waiting every.
Maintenance costs?
Yes, like, to
Yes.
250, whatever that is per year, to make sure we or whatever.
Doesn't it seem like we've had this discussion before?
Robert has a lot of.
Instead of coming
Yeah,
in
we
a
have,
couple years later
Right
and having
now,
a big
what-
chunk.
What it is right now, currently, we're down to the hard base. And so and over the years, it's washed away and because of the drainage issues and stuff up there. But what really needs to happen is we really need to go in there, take some of that material out and basically dispose of it, and then bring in new clay. And there's only a couple places that have that clay now, and I think used to be one in
You mean the
Simi.
material?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because it is, you want to make sure that you get the proper clay in there, because that's a real, and we could do this, we could do one of the lower field seems to be used more than the upper, correct? So we could do one right now, and this could be another thing that is in, with pony baseball and with the softball, if they want to do an exchange of
They're used to
services.
okay.
Now, we could supply them with the material, and then and I think we did this one time before, when we had our previous.
I think so too.
Yeah,
There
'cause
might
I
have been
remember
something.
Didn't they work on drainage about 4 years ago?
We
in-
did.
in this- Yeah, and
Yeah,
redid.
Yeah, we did,
the-
and
the first
we
field.
took the little berms out, that everything had,
I think Public
built up.
Works had a lot
Exactly.
to do with that,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, Public
The
Works
project.
did do a lot of work on the baselines.
The drainage
Where it had
areas.
drainage and also where the.
Yeah, 'cause it was all
There was
coming-
actually mounds had built up.
Yeah, and it was
because of
cutting
all
a
the
rut
chalking
right down
and-
through them, but
So I think the idea is that if it's something that annually we need to put in the budget.
I think you should, if you anticipate on having any type of fields out there that are in good
Yeah.
condition, it should be an annual
Instead of we
budget.
wait till 5 years later and now we're
Then
redoing
now
the
we're
whole
gonna
thing.
have to
Yeah.
spend a bunch, where we spend $200 versus $9,000.
Exactly.
So.
Okay, so
Well, some of
So
those
there's two different-
capital improvements have to happen.
Yes.
Even with the annual
ongoing
maintenance.
maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, but
So it's almost two items. You're suggesting a maintenance item and a CIP item.
But
For the
I would,
future,
I would
you
agree
know.
with that, because we do, just like the
Yeah,
gymnastics
it's
program that
constant
gets it,
out
there
there.
is a lot of
I mean, at
ball
one
field
time,
use.
we had a lot of tournaments in this town, from softball
Yes.
tournaments, and we used to have a lot of pony baseball tournaments, and it's,
People were coming in from out of town. Those were
yeah,
busy.
I mean, it brought in people for the hotel industry here, the food industry, I mean, those were big things. And pony baseball, for one, we paid them to have the opportunity to have it. We would give them like $4,000 out of our fund, hopefully we would get back some of it,
Yeah.
but it brought everybody in here, and it used to be a lot of fun, so.
Yeah. Well, staff had a meeting with the Monday night group, and they talked about hosting a tournament to help
Oh.
fundraise to
Get the fields
help
done.
pay for the ball fields,
Lovely
Yeah, so-
idea.
repairing the ball.
Well, I know
fields.
Ojai Valley Little League plays at the two fields in Oakview, and every year we go in and redo the fields before the season starts. But they stay on top of it every year, so it's not as big of an
Right.
issue, and it's a one-day work project.
And that's what I would expect the pony baseball and softball would do, is they would volunteer their talents that they have in there to do this work. I mean,
Okay. We'll put that on there.
Yes.
Anything else? Yes. Are we good with,
think
do you
we're-
want to?
Do you want me to read it again?
One last time and then,
So what we put on there is gymnastics equipment that wasn't on there. The awning between the gym and the main building, the bike park, which was on a list but not this list. Ball fields for a capital improvement project, meaning the larger redo of the fields. And then I guess on Sophocles' list goes the maintenance item, yeah? And then CrossFit, which is lighting and shade. Yeah?
yeah.
Was there anything else?
I'm sorry, did you say the court between, sorry, I missed that. Did you say?
I said the awning,
courtyard?
yeah, between the gym and the
Courtyard,
main
the
building,
court-
the courtyard. We'll
And
call it the
so-
courtyard awning, okay.
Yes.
Did
And
you
I-
get that?
Yes.
Did you get that, Steve? You good? So if somebody isn't here tonight for public comments, if they wanted to suggest something, they would go to Sophocles or to
Yeah, they could
Steve?
contact.
An
the
email to
recreation
There was some-
department, either one of us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Public?
Yeah.
Yep, just make sure you
For
pass
input
on.
on
Yeah.
what they, in anticipation of this master plan coming in, other things that they'd like to see at
And then
Sarasota
we'll-
Park,
I
but
think that's
anywhere
a-
in the
you
city.
know, you might want to
anywhere
put
in the
that on
city.
our
Facebook.
Facebook, there you go.
page. And on
And
our
the website,
website, is
yeah.
there any suggestions where, put a little bit of a blurb in there that we're
That list.
getting ready to undertake a master park plan development.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any issues, they can either come to this meeting or
Right.
they can submit it.
And I know
Not
last month
issues,
we,
but suggestions
last
and
month we
also.
also discussed, or we added a pool and a splash pad or some sort of
There you
water
go,
feature
water,
somewhere.
water element in Ojai.
Yes.
I do remember that.
Which
Did we talk
Yeah, I don't
about
have my list in
excluding-
front of me.
excluding
including
upper,
the fountain
sorry.
in Libby Park as well. So
Libby upper restrooms as well? Did that come up?
That was on here.
It is
Oh,
on
it just said
lower-
lower, no, it just said lower.
Lower,
That's
And-
on the list.
And actually, it's on the
Yeah, I think
CIP
you-
already.
It's already on the CIP.
It's, let's see
The
what
upper
year
as well?
it's there for.
Yeah.
Well, only the upper is on the CIP
So
list
upper.
right now.
We're adding in the
We're adding the
lower.
lower.
This is one that's the Parks Commission
lower
is
one-
talking
As a
about.
quick fix.
It's gonna come up with an inexpensive fix. There's a way right now that I was just thinking, you can add something to those top of the block right now.
Yeah, the center block.
Yeah.
Attach it
with-
to
with
that?
Just, and
And a
some
door.
wing walls and a door and you're
when
fine.
we discussed the
It's not
bike
structured.
park people partnering
Hmm?
with the tennis as well for a solution for the restrooms as well.
Okay, so maybe Softcleese, if you could put that on there and maybe provide the list that we've come up with tonight, so it gets people's ideas
Thinking.
going and thinking about.
Water
What
feature,
we've
water
been
elements,
discussing.
yes. I put water
Okay.
elements / pool.
And then obviously people can come to our next
Start with water
recreation
element.
meeting.
Exactly.
Move up to the pool.
Baby steps, yeah.
Okay. Are we good? Does anyone else have anything?
No, I think that's great.
Good? Okay,
So we're moving it to next month, right?
yes. Even though we talked about it for,
Way longer than moving it to like next month, but.
Because you'll all be going on our website anyway to see that list.
That's
and
right,
check it
that's
out
right.
and make sure
Exactly.
I didn't miss anything.
Become-
I
Commenting
think
on
it's good
Facebook
to
on it.
talk about it. It's
Yeah,
a huge
good.
responsibility to go through all this. So E would be our next agenda item, and it's Ojai Recreation Open House. Recommendation would be to discuss details and assignments for Recreation Open House event tentatively set for Saturday, May 16th, including raffle prizes, event promotion, and staff and commissioner assignments. So do you want to go over, talk about what we did last time, or how this?
I will turn this over to Mr. Katsas. This
Okay.
is his domain.
Thanks. Yes, we have a long list of things that we did last year prior to the event and of course, once the event happened. So we're already talking about it as a staff about how we want the welcome table to look for this second annual open house. So last year, it was a big help to have our commissioners there, working in the kitchen, handing out
Nice.
food,
popcorn.
making
did a really
popcorn
good
all
job. You did.
afternoon, and
I
we
didn't
will
burp.
do the same.
Yeah, I know.
But in addition to those assignments,
Few gloves.
so you, Commissioner Intner and Rylander are at the welcome table, and we plan to even have it snazzier, and we'll have custom-made recreation department balloons, helium balloons, and we're getting a nice table skirt for our table with a little more professional-looking kind of setup. But as a group, we'd like you to either pick sort of for that day. Hopefully, you've cleared your calendar to be there, and if you do plan to
Just
be
put
there,
it on there, that's right.
Yeah,
Everybody
put it on
wasn't
there.
texting on TV.
Yes, we were
just
putting
so
it on
you
our
know.
calendar.
Everyone was putting on the calendar.
So if
It looked
you
like everyone started texting.
do plan to be there, which is a great time to interact with the public as commissioners. If
You know-
you'd like to be, email Steve or I with, hey, I'd like to be at the welcome table, or I can assist. I'll be in the game room for a couple hours in the afternoon.
I think the last time we talked about it, we were wanting to form a subcommittee.
Yes.
And you were wanting to wait until this month to meet with your group to form the subcommittee?
We will, well.
Because I think it would be great if you had two commissioners on your subcommittee to work with, and then maybe they could help organize the roles of the other commissioners and set up some structure
And you
for
can
everybody.
focus on all the details of it.
Sure, and there, fortunately, I think we did quite a good job with promotion, coming up with the banner, which will
Banner,
hang
Yeah,
again.
banner was good.
Donation from Image Source.
Yeah, and you did, the two of you, Commissioner Intner and Rylander, did the yeoman's work on the donated raffle prizes, and the raffle,
Well,
I
then
mean,
I think we know
those
our
are-
two people.
Well, I think,
Well-
no, I think, we were volunteering last month.
Wasn't that the sign to the
We were
chair and the vice
volunteering
chair?
last month.
We had so much fun, except you need to barbecue this year.
I'll
right?
barbecue if you want.
Popcorn and barbecue.
Yeah, no, that'll be.
I got the popcorn.
Or maybe we can, maybe we get
Maybe
Randy
maybe we
back.
can move the popcorn machine outside.
Well, we
You can see
did,
more people that way.
I mean, the pizza worked fine, but if there is a commissioner that wanted, or two, that wanted to undertake the
I'm just
actual
teasing.
barbecue and
Okay.
do it that method.
Yeah.
But our committee, or whatever committee that we might form for
so sorry.
this, for the open house, we can have those discussions. But I do think, things that draw people, food, the bounce houses,
Yeah.
the raffles, all that kind of stuff will bring people in.
It was really fun. I know
Yeah.
people that came just to stop by and they ended up staying for like a couple hours because the
Oh,
kids
yeah.
didn't want to leave.
They were having a good time.
And we plan on,
You was on there, okay.
in the final day of the five-a-side
Was the same day.
program will be the same day
It'll
now.
coincide again?
Right, it
Okay,
wasn't
great.
actually last year. I think it was even though we had
Oh,
quite a
it
crew
was,
come.
I think it was fire safety that coincided with it last year possibly, or
Yeah.
the fire council.
No,
something.
five-a-side was still there, but it wasn't the finals. It wasn't the final day. So they're going to share, basically their end-of-season celebration is going to be part of our open house.
When is the
So it's gonna be
gymnastics
quite a
event?
big group.
When is the gymnastics event? She just.
April 24th.
April,
Oh, so it's
April
before then.
24th. It is before.
It would
it's
be
the
nice to have them do a
couple
little
weeks before.
exhibition on the.
I think that's something that would be, that we talked about last year, but
Yeah.
didn't quite get there.
'Cause we
but
never
would still
brought
like
the
to have
whole-
are the exhibitions.
Yeah.
Well, the gym will, like the last open house, and maybe we just need to do a little more directional, pushing people to the gym, but it was open during the whole open
but-
house time.
But it's so interesting only because they were weekends not far apart. The fire, who was it? Who
There
had
was
the-
something at
There
Libby
was a
that
fire
day.
The fire
safety.
safety.
It
They had
happened at
like
Libby
an open
Park.
area where they had exhibitions of different things going on, and I think that would be a great addition.
It was the family.
Oh,
fest
right.
downtown.
Yeah, that's.
No, this one, there was something right
there
at
Right, the
Sarasota,
fire
like a
safety.
weekend before.
Right, the Family Fest was going on the same weekend as the open house,
Which
but you're
wasn't so
right.
good.
The weekend or week or two before, there was that,
was a fire
safety.
safety.
Right, and it
Right.
was, and they had an exhibition kind of area set up in one area where they
That's
had
correct.
some bands and they had people performing different things. I think that would be great if we can do that.
When's the family festival?
You-
We're not
you
hitting it
mean
again?
To try to, are you saying to
Okay.
try to, well, this is something
The
that
next
can be
week.
discussed at the
Yeah.
committee
Are you
level, I
ready? Yeah, are
suppose.
you ready for, we're
Yeah.
ready.
All right,
Okay, we're on it.
yeah.
We talked about it for 3 hours. over
We
here.
volunteered last month, we're volunteering again.
Okay, but
Okay, and could you send out if there are other assignments that the
Yeah.
commissioners would like to volunteer for, just
Well, and
send the
I
list
think we could
out?
help facilitate that if
Okay,
if you
we'll
have,
send
if we
it-
have a
oh, there
meeting
you go.
and we
Get off
set
your
it up,
plate.
we can,
All right, perfect.
yeah,
before our April
And
meeting.
it's
Well-
settled.
Yeah.
we will make contact with
Okay.
setting an open house, and we'll be discussing it at our next staff meeting too, our own staff meeting on Wednesday.
And if you want to invite us to a portion of your staff meeting, if that's easier, you're welcome to do that. If you don't want to have a second meeting,
We could.
if that works for you, just as a,
It's Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Or tell us when you
But
want
I'll-
us there.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you
we'll
what
need to-
time.
Yeah, just let us know, but if
Yeah.
that's easier organizationally, I'm
Okay.
flexible, I can't
Okay.
speak for Sunday, but
I'll have to look at my
figure it out,
schedule.
yeah.
But I do have a nice long list of, really all the things we did, how much food we ordered, the cost of the
Maybe-
ad that we put in the Ojai Valley News. It's quite a bit of work that we did, but
Yeah.
I think we just follow the similar format
Mm-hmm.
to last year. And I
I think
thought it
it
was
would
very
be-
successful last year.
It would be nice for you to just tell everyone why we did it. I think that's what we're missing. We're talking about all the details of it, but really,
Well,
The
I
purpose.
think even though it's such a small valley, there's still quite a few people that don't know what goes on at the recreation department.
Or they
and how
participate
many-
in one program, and
Yeah,
they
or
don't understand
one
what.
program. And we'll have all our different instructors and all the programs that we offer out there on that day to say, these are the science specialty camps
Right.
that we offer in the summer and offer during our February winter break and spring breaks. We have these things that we offer. And yes, we do offer, we have plenty of adult programs. There's adult tennis and
so it's an
Tai Chi
opportunity to
and
let everyone know what.
yoga, new programs that have sprung up. So it is just an opportunity to let the community know.
And
There's
so-
a wide range of programming that we offer. It's not just youth programs.
Yeah, and I think also,
sports,
we
it's
were
everything.
looking at it as a celebration of, you guys had done a lot of remodeling and
Yeah, it
opportunity to
was.
see the facility, and I know, it's just nice,
people that don't go there. Maybe their kids are older and they don't know the game room and just all the things you guys have going on. So
And now it's going to be an opportunity for people to give their input on the master plan.
And they can
There's
walk
always a reason.
Sarasota and, you know,
People there.
You know, something we may want to do a blow up of the park and have people make suggestions and put on a little sticky
We
note.
talked about that last year, and we didn't quite
we
get
did
there.
that. The only thing we did last year was we asked people to
Comment
write on a
page.
wall, like,
Yeah.
what would you love to see? So, but that takes it even further, so that would be really
Something
great.
a little more formal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just a
Concrete.
picture of it, you know, what would you?
That'd be
you know,
great.
This is it's your canvas, let's put it together.
Okay,
I like that.
so we'll add that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will move on to recreation staff report. Sophocles, you want to
Okay,
go through?
sure. Some February, March program review. So our basketball finals are this Saturday, and it's for some they have children that are in the finals. But yeah, so it's basketball finals all day just at Sarasota Park. It will not be none of the games are at Matilaha. So these are just all for first, second place, and then we have consolation rounds too. It is also the opening of the AYSO five-a-side, AYSO and Ojai Recreation Department five-a-side soccer league, and that'll be going from 8 a.m. to noon, also at Sarasota Park. So that 8 to 12 time parking will be at a premium. It'll be very crowded there. So anyone that they'll just be scrimmage games for the five-a-side soccer league. So you can go on to ohaiayso.org and register there. You can go on to our city website, ohairec.com, and you can there'll be a link on ohairec.com to go on the AYSO website to be able to register. But they'll also take registration on day of at the park. It'll cost them $10 more, so it's $75 for the program, but if you register, what's today, the 5th? If you register by tomorrow, you'll still, I believe, get the $75 price. But after that, if you register day of, you'll pay $10 more.
And are you accepting
85.
registration in your office as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's where, if you're not registering online, if you're bringing in a physical application, you bring it into the rec department. 510 Park Road,
Great.
for those who don't know where the rec department is.
And how are we involved in that as far as the rec department? Are we just?
We do all the field prep. We help coordinate practice schedule, game schedule. Yeah, they get all the volunteers to coach the teams.
And reffing.
They provide the referees. We provide, like I said, field prep and
It's a really nice
support.
partnership.
It is a great
Because
partnership.
AYSO has the structure and have already trained their refs. I mean, the parents who are doing it have already had training during the season. It's really nice.
Yeah, and we will provide facility too, which we have already for
Yeah.
their meetings and
Yeah, good.
the like, yes.
Okay.
And we share all the costs for uniforms and other facility costs, but that's all a
So this is only this is the
50-50
second year,
proposition.
right?
This is the second year.
Which is
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
And it looks like you're about to
Very
have the
different.
same amount of registration, more?
Yeah, I don't, off the top, I don't have the number of participants last year.
You'll know next meeting.
I'll give you that number. Yeah. But basketball, as you know, was slightly above last year. We had about 315 participants this year in basketball compared to 290 the previous year. So we even had a bit of an uptick in the basketball league.
Great.
Very proud of that.
Run very well.
Yeah,
You guys have done a good job.
staff, we did have, as you know, Matt Landon took another position, and Allison, who's now took over his position and did a great job in her first season running that program.
Good.
Yeah, well, as always, we have some sportsmanship issues to deal with, but for the most part,
Mostly the
it was
adults?
very successful. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
It's,
Half the time.
it's interesting to watch the adults.
but it's a wonderful program.
It is a wonderful program, and we had a lot of happy parents and happy children. So,
Nothing brings out the passion like youth sports, right?
oh, sports in
So
general.
nicely put.
And speaking of passion, so dodgeball is still going well. We had 21 kids last Friday.
Oh,
so we found too, and I think we mentioned it in last meeting, that if we don't offer it every
Yeah.
Friday,
It gets
there's a little
confusing.
more excitement. So we do it again for anyone watching. We do it the first and third Friday.
First
of
and
each.
third Friday
First
for
and third
dodgeball.
Friday.
Okay.
It's $3 to just come in and play. It's at 6 p.m.
Is there an
in
age
the
limit?
multi-purpose room.
Just kidding.
Age
There-
range.
I said, is there an
Has
age
there any
limit?
we do recommend, actually, it kind of morphed into, we wanted it way back long
Adult
ago to be a family kind of dodgeball event, but
Well, it
what
was.
it's
Sunday's
really.
gone.
I
What's
played
that?
once.
Yeah.
Sunday played.
Did you go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of high school kids.
Yeah, what
bigger
what
than
it's
I am.
morphed into is really middle school age
Okay.
That's
range
cool.
child.
It's
But we
fun.
wouldn't turn anyone away that came in and said they wanted to play. An adult that wanted to throw a ball at a
I'm
middle
totally
school
just
kid.
kidding.
But,
That happens, you know.
yeah,
We need adult dodgeball league.
yeah.
I can see different weight divisions coming here.
Everyone go to OBC and then go play.
We do have another movie coming up this Friday. Yes, Friday night. It's going to be Fern Gully. So that's this Friday. We've made all the movies.
So that'll be
parent
tomorrow?
night. It'll be tomorrow night.
Okay.
And we've made all the movies parent night out
Oh, okay.
movies, meaning, again, you could drop your child off, if anyone 5 years of age or older. We'll provide pizza, drink,
think that's so good.
popcorn.
That's great.
all
Yeah.
So the drop-off time is?
2 o'clock.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, the drop-off time is, I don't want to say too early.
wanna look in the
It's
book?
6,
Oh,
yeah, do you have the?
She has the
Oh, you
guide.
have the
I thought
activity guide.
we could just announce it, just in case
Yeah.
anyone wants to know.
I believe it's 6 p.m.
I think you're
Good job.
6 p.m. There you go.
Movie
So
at
6
7,
p.m.
popcorn provided, $3 a person. Right?
Yes. Oh, no,
No,
it's
this is-
$10. No,
okay,
it's
it's 10.
$10 per child. See, you're looking.
Oh, I'm looking because you switched it. Now you're on the, you're
They used,
just
that
doing
was
parent
going
night
to
out.
be it was going to be a family movie night, but all of them are parent night out. And we, of course, once again, if a parent wanted to stay, we would not turn them away.
6
They
to
could,
9.
they could stay.
6 to 9, that's a
6 to 9
good
p.m.
dinner date right there.
It's the best, I'm telling you, it's the best deal in the valley for $10.
I know.
Yes, for babysitting.
Yep.
I wish I had that when my kids were little. I feel like not enough parents know about, I mean, I know we
Well,
talk about it all the time,
feel
but
the
I
same
really
way,
feel like
you
there's
know,
so
because
many
there's
parents.
We're putting
Just
it on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
we're
Not that
mass-
you're not
we're
doing anything.
No, I know, I'm
No,
just
it's
saying,
just-
we're,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
we're
a
putting it on
new-
Facebook,
everybody's
we're
trying
mass
to see all
emailing
this
it.
stuff.
So we're, we're plugging away.
Yeah.
No, it's really great.
And some of it, I have to say, probably is movie selection. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I bet if you show Frozen or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
we could
Have
show
a
that probably
packed
every
house.
Friday.
Packed house,
and it
in
probably
co-
works.
Yeah,
in
you can
costume?
show it every Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In costume?
Possibly, yes.
And then, so I want to mention this it's almost a side note, but we had a very successful bingo night.
Nice.
So good. We were
I was wondering about
Our
that.
first bingo night, but I'm sad to report that it'll be the first and final bingo night.
What
Because
happened?
what we found, what we
You got
discovered,
busted?
or what was discovered, that it kind of went against city ordinance.
Yeah,
Steve, you might want to.
Yeah, we've
Oh.
we've got to pull it back and see if we can re-engineer it so that it actually doesn't fit the definitions of
Steve, how about
bingo
if
in the
somebody-
municipal code, because
that's-
it's not something that we're permitted to do. So we don't want to be running afoul of the city's
How
code.
about if a group comes in though
Yeah.
and decides to do it?
You-
Like,
You know what was really, and this is a long time ago thing, but do you remember REAP? The Recycling and Environmental Action Program, where you picked up paper on a weekend, and organizations would do it, and they get $200 for the weekend, and it's a different model, but is there a way that some organization could pick it up and you could host bingo nights? It'd be a regular thing, and we could do it at the rec, but you could have different, like, if a PTA wanted, if different organizations wanted to host it, and then, I don't know,
So
just
was
a
it
thought.
just
How many
that
people
the city
came?
cannot host a
It's
bingo
gambling.
night?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't have the code in front of me, and I'm trying to remember, I think it has to be
Has to be an actual 501c3 non.
well, I think it was beyond that even.
Even those have to, I think, file for a special permission to do it.
You do.
Because it's gambling. And so you have to file with the state ahead of doing it, so.
It was
But I thought-
a pretty thorough.
we had a great time.
We had a great time. This is probably what Commissioner Dutter was in attendance and did quite well. Yeah.
Very well.
Didn't you did it, but didn't remember you saying you
There
did
was probably about
prizes?
30. There was probably about 30
was
people
great. It
there,
was fun.
and we did.
30
It was a
people is
lot
a
of
great
fun.
turnout.
Right.
Yeah, I thought so for the first time, and
That's
we
really
did non-cash prizes, but even
Right.
those are
They have value that
according
is
to the
monetary.
ordinance. They
So
do
then
have
you're in
value
trouble.
that are monetary. So,
So if you're giving a
Can't s-
cookie, you'd
Drinks.
be okay.
right, it would just have to be for the sheer enjoyment of playing bingo,
Okay.
Yeah.
and not.
And I don't want to get
I don't know if bingo's that fun.
too far ahead of ourselves here. I just want, the only thing I can really clearly state at this point is the way that we were doing it was not okay.
Right.
But the message here is not that we're saying that we can't do it, but we got to take a look at this and
Back to the
perhaps
drawing
rework
board.
it and come back and work something,
That's-
so.
That's good.
I'm only and I'm only bringing it up for purposes of saying, just for anyone that was planning on coming. So the Saturday.
The ones you had planned
The ones
are
that we had
canceled.
planned. So Saturday, this
Saturday.
This Saturday.
This Saturday.
Oh, so
yeah.
that should take a Facebook
It was going to be
blast,
this
too, that
Saturday.
It's not happening.
And the one in April. Well, I don't know about the one in April, but the one that's happening this Saturday will not.
30 is a lot
That's
for
a lot
one
of people.
first-time event.
Yeah. Would you say there was about that many?
Oh, yeah. I would say
Was it
maybe
Friday
more
night
than that, but
or
it
Saturday night? That's-
was a Saturday night.
Saturday.
Saturday night. and
Mention bingo.
I would say probably more than 30.
Comes out.
They ought to do a movie night and the bingo night.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's probably-
it could have been 40.
Yeah,
maybe
there's
more,
probably
but-
7 or 8 full
That
tables,
is an
right?
incredible
I know.
turnout.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay.
It was fun, but we'll see if we can reorganize it in some way.
Just for example, one of the things we found is, the code says that no minor should be allowed to participate, so,
Yeah,
so we'll.
Minors?
we had a bit of that going on.
Yeah, my 5-year-old son won, so.
I
So-
It seems like such a simple,
Yeah.
I guess
was
because
just
you had
gonna be an
prizes,
adult.
that's.
Yeah,
I did too. I thought it was
Right.
an
It
adult
wasn't.
thing.
You just do
No, we
numbers
didn't. I don't
was
believe
family
we
bingo
put an
night.
age. It was family bingo.
I now that I'm
We did
thinking
not-
back to the
There's a
image.
We did not put an age limit on it, actually, so, yeah.
All
It
right, well,
was
so back
advertised
to
as
the
a
drawing
family
board.
bingo night. Back to the
We'll
drawing
say
board.
if we can resurrect it, though, Sophocles did an amazing job at announcing the numbers, so.
It was fun.
Well,
Yeah.
understood, and
Spinning it around.
I hate to put a monkey wrench in anything that's getting, turnout and support. So we just got to make sure that we're doing it correctly and properly. So
That maybe with
we'll do that.
my invite.
Yeah, well,
Okay. Is
yeah,
that
so yeah,
everything
it was
for
supposed to be
programming?
this Saturday, which, the 7th? Yeah, it's,
Sophocles,
Yes, sorry.
is that it for programming?
it is.
Program review? Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want to
we're
move on to
done.
teen middle
Yeah.
school programming?
Sure.
Give a-
After our meeting, after this last commission meeting, we brought it back to staff to discuss what we might want to implement in the immediate
Opportunities
future.
that would-
Yeah, opportunities. So we do plan on running 2 summer teen dances.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and we may,
All the-
I think we even talked about doing a pizza game room night as well.
I like that.
So you will see, for sure, 2 summer teen dances in
I
the
bet that's
activity,
gonna-
the summer activity guide. And I,
Getting back to what Ojai used to
I
do.
know. That's awesome.
so, that will happen, and then going forward, in our next staff meeting, we'll talk about what we might implement in the fall as well. So,
That's
Good.
great. Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks
that
for
was-
getting on that. And then for summer team programming, was
Well,
that
that's
part of
what
that?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all
Part of
part of
that,
that.
too.
I don't know if Steve wanted to add, Mr. McClary wanted to add any more for the middle school programming, or what we
Nope.
talked about.
Not at this time.
So, and staff was actually very excited about getting dances back, and how we could organize that to make it more cost effective, and getting some volunteers to come in and help oversee those dances.
I think our biggest challenge, I'm sorry, is how do we get the word out? How do we build the excitement? So,
Is there the possibility, gymnastics used to help host the dance, some of the dances. I have this recollection.
And volunteers decorated.
Did they help do some of the dance? This could be wrong, but they helped do some of the dances. So would it be worthwhile to maybe have, like, if gymnastics is willing to help sponsor one? Because they would bring in a lot of people.
They did,
It's-
actually.
Sure.
I think they used
That
to
is a
do-
good recollection, and now that you bring it up, and it has been quite a while since we did dances, but it was a gymnastics dance. It was
Yes.
it
And they
was-
took some
it
of the
was
funding for
billed
their
that
program.
way
Mhm.
as a gymnastics sponsored dance program. I'll have to go back
It
a
was
few
a while
activity
ago.
guides to
I mean,
see,
it was
yeah.
a long
We're
time ago.
talking
10 years ago,
So they
maybe.
could raise
not
funds.
10,
No.
maybe, maybe 5-6
Okay.
years at
But
least.
that might be a good
You might
way
be-
to
you
start
might be
with
right,
one of
closer to
them,
10, I don't know.
because they have such a big program with a lot of kids in it. It would automatically start getting your word out. And if you allow them to keep maybe some of the funds that come in, if they're willing to help do part of the work.
Yeah, if we show a, profit on it.
Right.
Yeah, as a fundraiser.
Thank you for organizing it.
Sure. Well, it's like,
I'm
of course, I can't take all the credit for it, really. That the other staff, and more specifically, Allison is really wanting to
She's
take.
gung-ho on it. Good.
Gung ho on it.
Glad to
and
hear it.
Excited about that, bringing that back and the prospect of it. Because she went to some of those
She remembers,
dances
yeah.
herself. She
Yes.
remembers, she went to those dances.
And that's what we all
Excited
wanted
about
to
it.
bring it back, because
Exactly.
we knew
It was fun.
you guys
Yeah.
had fun and.
Well, we'll expect you to be their chaperoning.
Okay,
Okay.
ask for volunteers.
Okay, so Historic Commissioner Training, Thursday, April 8th at Sarasota Park. Are you going to talk about that?
I think that's just an informational item. It's not training for you folks.
Steve,
already
I
historical.
actually
Well, this-
did put that on there. I didn't know if it was for all commissions or if it was just for,
No, that is actually something that the state is organizing, and they're actually doing a regional training for not only the Ojai, but also for several other local planning or historic preservation commission. So we just wanted you to be aware that that was going on. Well, the city is actually co-hosting that training with the state, and so just wanted you to be aware that it's going on that date. We actually were fortunate to find a spot in the calendar that did not, I don't think we had to
during-
bump anything.
it's during the spring, it's during the school spring break.
Right,
So
right.
a lot of our classes won't be operating during that
So it
time,
works
so
out.
it was a
Oh,
good
good.
opportunity.
Right.
And again, it's a nice exposure for Sarasota Park and the Recreation Department to be hosting an event when it can.
Now, in that same email, though, was about the ethics training.
Yeah.
That is different.
Right, they're two separate things, but they
Yeah,
were
just
both in
not
that
to
same
confuse
email.
you. Oh, okay.
Mentioned both in an email I got.
Yeah, I was
Did you get
gonna
that
say,
email
I got
too?
the same
Because
thing.
the ethics training is what we're
I think
required
one of
to
them
do.
was.
That's correct.
Though, just for an informational thing that's gonna be coming up, and I think this was part of that one too.
Right, but the ethics is required for us.
Yes.
Either you do the online version or there's a meeting
That's
coming up.
correct. Yes. Yeah.
And you'll let us know. Rhonda's in charge of that.
Rhonda is coordinating that, right? You may have gotten a couple emails on that. We had a couple dates go back and forth, but I believe she's got that set now.
Okay. And there is an option, an online option.
That is correct, right. But if you're not able to make that, contact Rhonda and talk about other arrangements, please.
I got an email that it was canceled.
That, well,
then
what
they
happened was.
rescheduled.
Yeah.
There was a miss, she put something in there, you couldn't respond back to. that
Correct.
thing.
Yeah.
So Then it came back and then we were
So
able
it's
to
still
do
the
it.
same
It's the
date.
same-
It was confusing. I apologize. Correct. But
You're right
I don't
there.
wanna throw
It
the
was
date-
canceled
yeah.
once.
Back to the second one.
But if you're not sure on that, I would encourage you to just go ahead and contact Rhonda or myself, and we'll make sure that we get you the correct information. But yeah, there has been some various emails going back and forth, so it'd be easy to get confused.
Okay. So our next agenda item is commissioner reports and comments. Does anyone have a report? I mean, you guys gave the playground.
Oh, Madam
report tonight.
Chair, actually, before we leave the staff reports, could I just have a moment
Oh, sure.
to report on a couple of things actually that I didn't have on here, just as informational items? I'm sorry. One, we did have a staff marketing meeting this week, so we are continuing to talk about that and look at options there. We're very pleased with the response that we've gotten from the social media. One of the things that we talked about was adding an Instagram page, so we're going to be doing that. We also talked about some other avenues for getting the word out, including other publications. So we're taking a look at that and what that might cost, with the idea of going forward to try to increase our marketing budget by a few $1,000s next year. We think we could work that into the budget. And again, if you're doing it right, it primes the pump, exactly. So, which I think is what we've seen, quite a bit with the social media. And of course, we talked about that at the last meeting quite a bit, so I won't dwell on that again here. And then also want to let you know that we are following up on the list of items that Commissioner Roddick gave us in terms of the facility. We are taking that very seriously. We did do a walkthrough. Some of it, for example, like the things with the storage shed there, some of that we're at the point where we're kind of figuring, is it at the point where, exactly, is it a total loss? But then at the same time, we know that things don't happen tomorrow, and if we've got issues that it's insecure or it's dangerous or whatnot, we know that we need to address those right away. But for example, like the shed, that's one of those ones we're going to kind of have to kick that around a little bit, probably with Greg and also with the master plan too, see what they say.
Over some different type of sheds that you can get that are brought in, and fabricated right on site. All the way from metal ones to I don't know, there's a couple other companies in there, but one of them was pretty reasonable, and you figured the metal shed is gonna last you
Right.
a lot of time.
We'll put that on the master.
Yeah.
But, so we're working on your list, and then as we went through, we found a few more things to additionally add to the list, so it seems like we're always adding things to the list. But things are getting done, and so we do appreciate the feedback. We do take that stuff very seriously, where we really do want to have as good a facility as possible. And I know both for Mr. Katsas and I, we both have a real eye for if it's junk or it's not something that's being used, let's get it out, let's move it out. And just as a note, and I actually was so much going on here, I didn't want to jump in when Greg was here and all those items, but the fields are really, the grass is really looking good out there. I said from about a year or two ago, it's really improved, so things are looking pretty good. But again, we are working through that list. Just want to let you know. So I know some of the things have been work ordered, and then we're working on our stuff.
One of our de facto on-site maintenance
Right.
Staff, and we went over a list of things he'll be working on next week. Some of the quicker, easier fixes like the debris on the restroom and replacing the vents in that shed. Those are quick fixes, even if you're going to replace.
I think it's important since we're coming up with an open house.
Well, yeah, and it's nice. I think we're we're getting into a pattern now of as we get closer to the open house, that's the time to really go through and spruce up our facilities, make sure everything is looking good, as good as it can be, and it's also a good time of year because if we're trying to exhaust our maintenance budgets because we're getting late in the fiscal year, but we're also getting ready for what do we want for next year. So it's all very timely. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any commissioner reports, comments? We were good on that. Do you have something?
No, not a report. Just something dawned on me after we got past the play-by-design construction. Do they have a press release standard thing, or should we get we definitely want to get in the Ojai Valley News. And then there's the timing thing. We don't want to do it too early. It's not going to do it. But do they have a standard press release, or is that something we're going to have to?
That's a good question.
Yeah. You would think that's part of the
Such a
outreach,
good
but it
question.
might
I had
not
already
be,
made a
so.
note to put a press release out about that.
Nice.
Of course, we'll have to wait until the council takes action, but good thought, Commissioner Fort. We'll check with them, see if there's anything that they have there, because there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if they've already got something good out there. We're just filling the blanks. But
I think it's a great idea.
A note earlier in the evening that is something that we definitely want to. And again, as I heard Commissioner Dutter talking about, hey, this is the time to capitalize on the momentum and the excitement on this. That's actually what made me to jot that down. So you're right. I think we're all thinking.
Yeah, it's a good point. It was interesting because it was on the front page of the Star Free Press.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
even without doing anything, so I think to do that would be even more helpful. The other thing, did you have something? Oh, no, go ahead.
Was there any word or movement from the bike track group?
I reached out to them. I did not hear a response, and then I sent something out, and I just heard back from the organizer today, so they said they're ready to go. So we're ready to go. So we'll start working with those. I think the first group we were going to meet with was the tennis association. We need to meet with the neighborhood and also the Libby Bowl folks, and I'm probably forgetting somebody else right
So to
now
fill
at
in
this
the
hour.
blanks, this is working on a
Yes.
specific site.
That's correct,
So
right.
in that parking lot.
That's correct,
For
right.
the-
And they wanted to.
Yes,
meet with
thank
all the
you.
Stakeholders.
Right.
I don't know if we do it at the skate park, but during certain events, will there be restrictions to where they can't be in that area?
We talked about that, and of course, nothing's set at stone, but we did have that specific thought and said, when Ojai Day is going on or the music festival, yeah, they understand that. Of course, something like Ojai Day, actually, now that we said it, we said that necessarily would not be a conflict, but certainly tennis tournament, the music festival, there's the parking demand and all that, so.
You
there-
wouldn't use it for parking, though.
No, but I'm just saying,
There'd be a lot of activity,
Yeah, people driving.
driving in and out of there could present
I
a
always
bit
go
of a
back to the
conflict.
same thing of like, you treat every facility just like another. So why would you shut one down for something else?
I
Do we
think-
do that? I'm just throwing that out
it-
there.
it-
Like,
I
I
totally
always go
agree. I
back
totally
to that,
agree
like,
Probably
well,
we don't shut
there's-
something down
we
because
we shut down the tennis courts when there's concerts at Libby Bowl.
we do.
Yes.
Not the,
I'm like, why
Not
would
the
we do
lower,
that?
not the lower, but.
the ones that.
Yeah.
Oh, the upper one.
Right.
Come on, what's wrong with?
But they also pay
To
for the
music.
rental of that, don't they?
Yes.
As part of their contract.
Well,
No? Okay, it's okay. We don't need to go into this.
Yeah, we won't go
But-
We're in
into.
the weeds.
but it could be a safety, I do look at it as a potential safety issue with that many people
'Cause you're
coming
coming in
in and
on
out
it,
of that area. I would be personally concerned to have a big event and a lot of traffic and bikes trying to commingle in that one area.
So it is a detail being discussed.
Well, and I'm not even necessarily sure that there is an impact there or is the need. I guess back to the original question, we did
It's been brought up.
bring that up with them, and they said,
I'll let you guys figure it out.
if there are conflicts or whatnot, we certainly understand that, so.
Great.
I just always go back to.
Yeah, we're only
I totally agree
talking,
with
you're
you.
only talking a possibly, potentially a handful
Few
of
days,
days
right.
that would be a factor, if at all.
I think on Ojai Day, though, you'd want it.
Oh, yeah, exactly, no,
it
yeah.
might
I
even
think
be
it would
part
have
of
to
the
be
Excitement
purely for
program.
a safety thing, because why wouldn't you want a bunch of people on bikes or people on skateboard? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, I'm going the other way. I like.
Well, like I said, it may not be a conflict
Might
for something
not.
like the
It
tennis
might not.
tournament.
I- I know, I just spoke with our own tennis instructor, Rick Thompson, about the possibility of those spaces, and he didn't actually have issue with any of it, really, to
good.
tell you the truth.
That's good news.
Great.
I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, he brought up a few concerns, and which weren't significant enough for me even to remember right at this moment, but he didn't see too much of any downside to it.
Would be a
Great.
great addition. Okay, did anyone else have anything? So the next item on the agenda is a city council liaison, which,
Who was
we
our
don't-
liaison?
I think it's Paul Black.
I hesitate, I don't have the list in front of me, I'm sorry, because
Yeah, I'm not
sometimes
sure. I
they
think it was
sub
Paul.
in,
He was here last time.
he
but-
may have been subbing, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
We don't have anyone here tonight,
No,
so
I'm
we'll
sorry.
obviously skip that. Do you have anything that you, like city council meeting dates or anything? I guess that's our next item, future meeting dates and agenda items.
Well, let's see, we mentioned, of course, the Libby Park consultant will be going to the city council on March 24th. And then assuming the Parks Commission makes a recommendation on the Sarzati Master Plan, we have that scheduled to go to city council on April 14th. There is an item on the March 10th meeting to talk about training needs for commissions, so just that you're aware of that. That's all that I see right now in terms of immediate items that are coming up that may be of interest.
Is there anything that anyone wants for agenda items for next time?
Can I just ask a quick question about the training needs for commissions, where that's coming from? Who's
from the mayor.
initiating that?
Yeah, some of it's, was, again, there was some discussion about, everything from the ethics training to, other needs for training. I think there was some requests mainly coming from the Historic Preservation and Planning Commission. I haven't heard any particular needs from this group. We weren't really asked to communicate that, but we could certainly schedule it for a discussion. So, but no, it wasn't something that was.
No, I think it's great. I actually think it would be nice for every commission to have a standard training on.
I think it's even city staff is gonna be attending this, correct?
We talking about the ethics training? Oh, yeah, we're required to check. But I think the general item here for city council, and forgive me, I don't have it in front of me, is just to talk about some of the requests and some of the needs, and what would the council like to do in terms of future support for that. So, again, the direction didn't really come down to us to take that forward to you, but I'm more than happy to put that on for future agenda if that's something the commission wants to discuss.
I think it's a good idea. But
Okay. Well, of course, we'll see how the discussion goes on the 10th, and
Yep.
And if if you'd like to put it on for future agenda, let your chair know. And
okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're gonna be adjourned. That's it for tonight.
nothing
I
more
have
for
no
me.
couch.
Done.
Oh no, that's what I forgot to put out.
Many years my phone. Yeah, many years.
Shatter your.
I really want to do that. So, we're not to bingo in the late 80s, early 90s. They did it as a fundraiser, and they had the, is that